Chapter 478. I'm here for her. Hua Jinyao's words made everyone in the office look at Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang felt extremely uncomfortable. What was Hua Jinyao trying to do? It was her first day at work. Su Qingsang winked at Hua Jinyao and winked. However, Hua Jinyao didn't seem to notice the look on her face. He took a few steps forward and stopped in front of Su Qingsang. At the same time, he carried a box in his hand and placed it on the desk in the middle of the room. It's my first time here, so I didn't prepare any gifts. I bought some snacks from Xiangshan House for you. I hope you like them. Everyone's eyes lit up in the office of Xiangshan House. Xiangshan House was a big restaurant. Not only did it have good food, but it was also famous for its snacks. It was said that the ancestors of the pastry chef were royal chefs who specialized in making snacks. Later he came to Xiangshan House and set the rules. 3 kinds of snacks a day and only 20 servings of each kind. There were no more snacks after that. Although 20 servings was a lot, Xiangshan House was open from morning to night. Every day, countless people lined up to buy snacks. If you wanted snacks, you had to order them in advance. However, it was Su Qingsang's husband's first day at work and he brought snacks from Xiangshan House. Su Qingsang hadn't been in Rong City for long, but Hua Jinyao had taken her and Li Qianxue to Xiangshan House once. Naturally, she knew the story behind it. What on earth was Hua Jinyao doing? She couldn't help but stare at him. However, Hua Jinyao acted as if he didn't see it. He turned to the others in the office and said, "Hello. My name is Hua Jinyao, Su Qingsang's husband." "Hello. Hello." A group of women stared at Hua Jinyao. Those who were married, such as the chief doctors, looked a little better. After all, the children were grown up and they were too embarrassed to stare at him. However, the look in the eyes of the young nurses was different. They looked at Hua Jinyao with amazement. They looked at each other with amazement in their eyes. "Hello." Hua Jinyao saw Sun Huiya standing in the office. "Are you the chief?" Hua Jinyao looked at the name tag on her chest. "Chief Sun?" "I am." Qingsang is still young. If there's anything she doesn't understand, Director Sun should teach her more. Sun Huiya had also seen Su Qingsang's work in the morning. She had a good impression of this student of hers, who worked as soon as she arrived and didn't meddle in other people's business. "You're welcome, Mr. Hua. We'll all be colleagues in the future and we'll learn from each other. There's no need to take care of each other. You're welcome, Director Sunday. Just call me Hua." Hua Jinyao grinned, revealing his white teeth. He was handsome and his smile was bright and friendly. Sun Huiya liked Hua Jinyao even more. After Director Sun were the 2 deputy directors, Shen Lingyun and Yang Lu. Hua Jinyao said what he wanted to say and greeted everyone present. He said nothing more than that Qingsang had just arrived and hoped that everyone would take care of her. Finally, he seemed to notice Zheng Qinyu. He stood in front of him and looked at the white coat he was wearing. "Which department is this doctor from?" "I'm also in the gynecology and obstetrics department." Zheng Qinyu smiled and extended his hand. "Hello." "Good, good." Hua Jinyao held Zheng Qinyu's hand and looked him up and down. He pretended to say casually, "Dr. Zheng, you look so young. You don't have a girlfriend yet, do you?" "Yes. I've been busy with work." Zheng Qinyu smiled a little awkwardly. Being busy with work was one thing. More importantly, as a man, why couldn't he be an obstetrician and gynecologist? As a result, he hadn't gotten married yet. Because many girls thought that he was a pervert because he studied obstetrics and gynecology. Zheng Qinyu also felt quite helpless. He really wasn't a pervert. It seems that it's been quite hard. When Hua Jinyao heard this, he shook Zheng Qinyu's hand again. He didn't know if it was his imagination. Zheng Qinyu felt that the smile on Hua Jinyao's face seemed to be fake when he heard that he didn't have a girlfriend. Also, the strength of his hand was really too strong. His hand hurt so much. Illusion, this must be his illusion. Zheng Qinyu didn't hurt for long, and Hua Jinyao let go of him. After this round of greetings, he stood in front of Su Qingsang again. "Wife, haven't you eaten yet?" He smiled brightly, and Su Qingsang could even feel that the way he called her his wife was particularly mushy. Su Qingsang looked at him with a helpless expression. "Yes, we're going to eat." "I see." Hua Jinyao looked disappointed, as if he was a little distressed. "Then you guys go ahead. I thought I could come over and have lunch with you." "Of course you can." If Sun Huiya still couldn't see it by now, she would have lived for so many years in vain. "Anyway, we'll be colleagues in the future. We'll have plenty of opportunities to eat together. Little Su, you can go with Hua." Well, even Hua Jinyao was called. How much did she approve of Hua Jinyao? Su Qingsang felt a little helpless. After glaring at Hua Jinyao, she apologized to Director Sun and the others, then left with Hu Jiniao. As soon as they left the hospital, Su Qingsang's expression didn't look good. Hu Jiniao went forward and put his arm around her shoulder. "Wife, what do you want to eat for lunch?" Su Qingsang didn't say anything. She really couldn't accept that Hu Jiniao had run to the hospital without saying goodbye today. "Wife, what's wrong?" Su Qingsang still didn't say anything and just walked forward. Hu Jiniao followed her and looked at her face. "Wife, are you not feeling well?" "What?" They had already reached the place where Su Qingsang's car was parked, but Su Qingsang still didn't know where to go. Hu Jiniao walked beside her, and his voice was a little softer than before. "Wife, are you angry?" "Angry? How would I dare to be angry with you? You're so kind to come over and greet my colleagues with snacks from Xiangshan House. I can't thank you enough." She said she wasn't angry. Hu Jiniao took her hand. "Wife, I'm just worried about you." He wanted Su Qingsang to go to Qing Xinyun's private hospital, but she didn't want to. There were many patients in the public hospital, and it was busy and complicated. "Worried about her?" Su Qingsang suddenly said to Hu Jiniao, "Mr. Hua, do you know that today is my first day at work?" "I know. My first day at work and you're doing this to me. How will other colleagues look at me?" "What's wrong with me?" Hu Jiniao blinked his eyes. He was over 6 feet tall, but he made such an expression at that moment. Su Qingsang's mouth twitched. "You came here and told everyone to take care of me. Why do I need anyone to take care of me? Besides, I'm here to work, not to be taken care of." Even though Su Qingsang had acknowledged her as her mother and was now the daughter of the Su family, some of her habits hadn't changed. She liked to keep a low profile and a simple working environment. If possible, she would try not to let others know about her family background. However, after what Hu Jiniao had done today, how could she keep a low profile? But this guy didn't have any self-awareness at all. Did he think that what he did was reasonable? Su Qingsang wanted to cut open his head and see what was inside. Hu Jiniao stood there without saying anything, but his face was full of grievance. Su Qingsang was going to open the car door, but when she saw Hu Jiniao like this, she stopped. "What are you doing?" "Wife." It was noon and there were no people in the parking lot. Hu Jiniao didn't have to worry about being seen like this. "I'm so sad." Su Qingsang stared straight at his face, trying to see if he was acting. However, the accusation in Hu Jiniao's eyes was clear. "I really care about you. I know that today is your first day at work, so I wanted to see you." Hu Jiniao's voice was very soft, and it sounded as if he had been wronged. Su Qingsang's lips moved, but she couldn't bring herself to criticize him. She took a step forward and stood in front of him. "Okay, I'm not angry." "You are. You're angry." "I'm really not angry." Su Qingsang raised her voice. Realizing that it wasn't appropriate, she softened her voice. "I'm just a little not used to it." Thinking back to when she went to Lin City Hospital to report, she went alone. After so many years, she was used to doing everything alone. Moreover, this work wasn't like going to war. Hu Jiniao really made her feel very uncomfortable. Okay. I'm really not angry. It's just that next time you do this, can you call me first? Let me be prepared." Seeing that Hu Jiniao still looked wronged, Su Qingsang felt very tired. "Do whatever you want. You can come and see me whenever you want in the future. Is that okay?" The grievance on Hu Jiniao's face finally dissipated a little. However, he looked at Su Qingsang carefully. "Honey, are you really not angry?" "I said I'm not angry." Su Qingsang wanted to scream. "Then honey, can we go for dinner now?" "Yes." Su Qingsang didn't know what to say now. Forget it. Hu Jiniao really just came to see her out of kindness, so what else could she say? She turned to open the car door. She felt a little guilty. He came to see her out of kindness and was worried about her first day at work. It wasn't good for her to lose her temper. How about she make it up to Hu Jiniao tonight? Su Qingsang had something on her mind, so she didn't see that after she turned around, there was no grievance on Hu Jiniao's face. He did it on purpose today. He suddenly remembered that it was Su Qingsang's first day at work halfway. She was beautiful and looked young. Because she was a doctor, she couldn't wear a wedding ring all the time. It was true that the obstetrics and gynecology department were all female doctors. However, there was more than one department in the hospital. Besides, Rong City Hospital was bigger than Lin City Hospital, so there must be more doctors. If there was another doctor like Zhuo Hongchen, he would first let these people know that Su Qingsang was married. Chapter 479. Hu Jiniao got into the car. Su Qingsang was looking at the building of the first hospital. Just now, another ambulance drove in and the paramedics rushed out. Birth, old age, sickness, and death happened every day in the hospital. Compared to life and death, everything else seemed to be insignificant. Hua Jinyao didn't notice the look in Su Qingsang's eyes. He started the car and spoke in a seemingly casual tone. There was a male doctor in your department just now? There aren't many men who work as gynecologists, right? Yeah. Su Qingsang thought of Zheng Qinyu's self-deprecation and found it funny. Out of the corner of his eye, Hua Jinyao saw Su Qingsang smile. His tone was even lower than before. You're in the same department? It's not just a department. His teacher is Director Sunday. The last time I came to the hospital, he was also the one who brought me to the hospital office to complete the procedures. Oh, I see. Hua Jinyao narrowed his eyes. This kid was fast. Fortunately he came today. Su Qingsang abruptly turned her head to look at Hua Jinyao. Why do you ask? It's nothing. I was just asking. Hua Jinyao looked like he was driving seriously. After all, it's rare to see a male gynecologist. That's it. What else? Hua Jinyao turned to look at her, his dark eyes unexpectedly deep. Su Qingsang turned to look at Hua Jinyao. Since they got married, she had some understanding of Hua Jinyao. Her watery eyes wandered. Maybe it's because I'm a petty person. I always feel that you suddenly came here not to see me, but to let others know that I'm married. Hearing Su Qingsang's words, Hua Jinyao suddenly frowned in discomfort. Wife, how can you think of me like that? Su Qingsang stared at him without blinking. She couldn't be blamed for being narrow-minded. Hua Jinyao really seemed like the kind of person who would do such a thing. Hua Jinyao parked the car on the side of the road and pressed his hand against his heart. Honey, I'm so sad. How could you think of me like that? Su Qingsang was dumbfounded. She watched as Hua Jinyao turned his face to the other side, only showing her the back of his head. It was obvious that he was hurt by her. Hua Jinyao. Su Qingsang reached out to pat his shoulder, but he refused to turn around. Su Qingsang put her hand on her forehead and looked at his back. She felt a headache coming on. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Hua Jinyao still didn't turn around. Su Qingsang said helplessly, I was wrong, okay? I shouldn't think of you like that. Seeing that Hua Jinyao still hadn't turned around, Su Qingsang had to take a step back. How about I make it up to you when we get home tonight? Hua Jinyao finally turned around. Really? Really? Su Qingsang had already made up her mind. He nodded heavily, his expression serious and sincere. Now, can you not be angry? You promise you won't think of me like that next time? I promise. Su Qingsang did feel guilty. He came to see her out of the goodness of his heart to see what she was thinking about just now. Okay, you have to make it up to me tonight. Of course. Su Qingsang took another step back. He didn't know that the compensation the two of them were talking about was completely different. Hua Jinyao was satisfied, but the expression on his face was still very serious. Honey, don't think of me like that next time. I told you there won't be a next time. Su Qingsang felt extremely guilty. He was just short of raising 3 fingers and swearing. Then let's go. Hua Jinyao started the car. His voice was a little lighter than before. You have to work in the afternoon. Let's just eat something. Su Qingsang nodded. She wasn't particular about food. Her phone happened to ring at that moment. She looked down at her phone, so she missed the flash of cunning in Hua Jinyao's eyes. Since she had said that she would make it up to Hua Jinyao, Su Qingsang went to the market to buy vegetables after work. She had just started work, so it wasn't her turn yet. She left after saying goodbye to Sun Huiya. She used the phone app to find the nearby shopping malls. She had used her free time to search for some local specialties in Rong City. Now it was easy to buy vegetables according to the menu. Because when she lived with Xiang Kaiping, she would also help her cook. Her cooking skills had improved a little during this time. She couldn't say that her cooking was particularly delicious or amazing, but she felt that she could still make it. After buying the vegetables, she bought some daily necessities. When she was about to pay the bill, she happened to see the Okamoto on the shelf next to her. Su Qingsang stopped for a second. Finally, she picked up 2 boxes and put them in the cart. When Hua Jinyao returned home at night, he smelled the aroma of food in the house, which surprised him. Because he had just moved in, he hadn't picked a job yet. Old Master Hua had said that he would ask Xia or Aunt Zhou to come over. However, Hua Jinyao wasn't willing. He had already asked Yang Wenshang to pick the people, but it would take some time to pick the right and trustworthy people. When he entered the kitchen, he saw Su Qingsang busy at the cooking table. Her movements weren't very fast, but she looked very skilled and smooth. The aroma of food wafted over and the beautiful figure busy at the cooking table. Hua Jinyao's heart moved slightly. You're back? Su Qingsang heard the voice and didn't turn her head. She scooped the dishes out of the pot and said, Wash your hands. Dinner will be ready soon. Hua Jinyao didn't wash his hands. Instead, he took a step forward and put his arms around her waist. He lowered his head and took a deep breath on her neck. Honey, you smell so good. Honey, you smell so good. Stop it. How could she smell good with the smell of oil? Really smells good. Hua Jinyao leaned over and kissed her face. Honey, why did you think of cooking for yourself? What do you think? Didn't he make a scene at noon and ask her to make it up to him? Wasn't she making it up to him? Hua Jinyao's heart moved slightly and he couldn't help but kiss her lips. Su Qingsang quickly dodged. I said stop it. Wash your hands and eat. Okay. Hua Jinyao nodded, but he didn't forget to steal a kiss. Only then did he wash his hands under Su Qingsang's reproachful gaze. The dishes Su Qingsang made were relatively simple, home-cooked dishes. 4 dishes and 1 soup. The soup was chicken soup that had been stewed as soon as she came back. Have a bowl of soup first. Su Qingsang scooped a bowl of soup for Hua Jinyao. I specially read the recipe online and cut 2 shiitake mushrooms into it. Try it. Hua Jinyao took a sip and looked up at her. Yes, it smells good. Drink more if it smells good. Su Qingsang looked at the admiration on his face and seemed to feel a little embarrassed. Well, because I came back late, I used a pressure cooker to make it. Next time when I'm resting, I'll stew it in a clay pot. Should taste better that way. It's okay. It's very good. Hua Jinyao looked at Su Qingsang. You bought so many things today. Did you carry them all back by yourself? Yes. Su Qingsang nodded. Not much. It's just 2 big bags. You should have called me. I would have come back to help you carry them. No need. Don't look at me because I'm thin. I'm very strong. Of course, my physical strength is not bad either. Su Qingsang wasn't bragging. To put it bluntly, working in a hospital, especially for doctors like them, women were treated like men, and men were treated like animals. Sometimes, when pregnant women were tired and there were not enough hands, doctors had to help carry them. Sometimes there were consecutive surgeries. Without a certain amount of physical strength and endurance, it was impossible to persist for a day. Are you strong? Why don't I think so? Of course I can't compare to you, but I'm much better than ordinary girls. Really? Hua Jinyao touched his chin and looked at the smug look on Su Qingsang's face. Then why can't you last long in bed every time? Hua Jinyao. Su Qingsang couldn't listen to it anymore. I'm serious. How can you have the nerve to say that you're strong? She begged for mercy in less than 2 minutes every time. Okay. It was more than 2 minutes, but for Hua Jinyao it was definitely 2 minutes. Is that because I'm weak? That's because you're too strong. Hearing that, Hua Jinyao stopped picking up the bowl and leaned half of his body forward to get closer to Su Qingsang. Honey, are you complimenting me? Su Qingsang glared at him, scooped a bowl of soup for herself and decided to ignore him. After dinner, Su Qingsang wanted to clean up the dishes, but Hua Jinyao didn't let her. Get the hourly worker to clean up tomorrow. The person I asked Wenchang to find will come tomorrow. There's no need. Just a few bowls. They'll be done soon. Su Qingsang got up and went to the kitchen. Hua Jinyao followed behind her and pulled her over to him. Honey, washing dishes hurts your hands. Don't wash them. Then you do it. Su Qingsang pouted and gestured for him to do it. The smile on Hua Jinyao's face froze. You want me to wash the dishes? Can't I? I don't dare to disobey my wife. Hua Jinyao squeezed her hand with a strange expression on his face. But I've never washed before. Are you sure you want me to? I cook and you wash the dishes. Isn't that fair? Fair, it's quite fair. Hua Jinyao nodded and stood in front of the sink. Looking at the bowls in the sink, he turned to look at Su Qingsang. Can you tell me what the first step is to wash the dishes? Put the water in and the detergent in. It's simple. Hua Jinyao did as Su Qingsang said. Su Qingsang watched him squeeze out enough detergent to wash the dishes 4 or 5 times. She thought about it and decided not to see it. She turned and left. However, less than 2 minutes after she walked into the living room and sat down, she heard a bang coming from the kitchen. Su Qingsang's eyebrows twitched. She forced herself not to go in and pay attention to it. However, not long after she heard another bang. Su Qingsang picked up the tea on the table and took a sip. When she heard the third bang, Su Qingsang finally couldn't help but stand up and walk towards the kitchen. Just before she entered the kitchen, she heard another bang. Su Qingsang took a deep breath and tried to adjust her breathing. Chapter 480. So, When Su Qingsang stood at the door of the kitchen, she saw the broken pieces on the floor. Su Qingsang tried her best to look at the innocent Hua Jinyao calmly. Can you tell me what's going on now? Hua Jinyao's hands were still soaked in bubbles. His hands were empty. When he looked at Su Qingsang's face, he felt a little guilty. I don't know. Hua Jinyao blinked and looked like he really didn't know what was going on. I wanted to rinse the water and soak the bubbles. These bowls obviously didn't think so. They seemed to be more willing to run to freedom. Calm down. Su Qingsang's mouth twitched. So it's the bowl's fault, not yours? Of course. Hua Jinyao nodded and looked like she was right. It's really not my fault. Su Qingsang gritted her teeth and forced herself to calm down. She told herself that it was all her fault. She knew that as a young master he couldn't have done these things. How could he wash the bowls well? Su Qingsang rolled up her sleeves and smiled. Forget it. You can go out. Honey. Go out. Although there were only 2 plates left, she didn't want them to be scrapped. Well, why don't we get the hourly worker to do it tomorrow? I said go out. Su Qingsang glared at him fiercely. Hua Jinyao shrank his neck and walked out. Su Qingsang watched him stand outside the kitchen, sweep the broken pieces on the floor with a broom, and dump them into the trash can. When the floor was cleaned, she washed the remaining 2 plates. She drained all the water in them and rinsed them. Finally, she put the remaining 2 plates and chopsticks into the disinfectant cupboard. While she was doing this, Hua Jinyao stood at the door of the kitchen and watched. Seeing that Su Qingsang had tidied up the kitchen, he felt a little guilty, which was rare for him. Honey, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean it. Don't say it. It was all her fault. She shouldn't have expected Hua Jinyao to wash the dishes. It wasn't something he could do at all. Honey, are you angry? No. She wiped her hands clean, turned off the kitchen light, and went back to her room. How dare you deny it? You look angry. Hua Jinyao followed her and insisted that she was angry. I told you I'm not angry. Su Qingsang decided not to argue with this guy. Too many things had happened in the past half a month, one after another. She almost forgot that this guy was a big CEO who could summon the wind and summon the rain outside, but he was simply a scoundrel at home. Honey. Just as she was about to reach the door of the room, Hua Jinyao put his arm around her waist and asked, You're really not angry? I told you I'm not angry. Su Qingsang patted his hand and signaled him to let go of her. I'm not that easily angered. That's great. Hua Jinyao gave her a big kiss on the cheek. I knew I had a good wife. Put me down. Su Qingsang couldn't stand the smell of cooking oil. She was in a hurry to take a shower to get rid of the smell. I won't. Stop fooling around. I'm going to take a shower. I'm not fooling around. Let's take a shower together. As Hua Jinyao spoke, his hands began to move. Su Qingsang quickly grabbed his hand and asked, What are you doing? Yesterday he said that he would let her rest for a few days and not touch her. Was he going to break his promise? Take my compensation. What compensation? Su Qingsang blinked, her eyes full of confusion. Honey, you're not cute like this, are you? Hua Jinyao carried her into the room and directly pressed her down on the bed. What's wrong with me? Honey, look at you. Hua Jinyao leaned over and kissed her on the lips. You said at noon that you would make it up to me. Why are you turning your back on us now? Haven't I already made it up to you? Su Qingsang glared at him. I'm going to make dinner. Su Qingsang seemed to realize that the compensation she was talking about was completely different from the compensation Hua Jinyao was talking about. She hurriedly explained, I'm talking about making a delicious meal for you. Hua Jinyao looked at the serious expression on her face, turned over, and lightly trapped her body in his arms again. But the compensation I'm talking about is eating you. Hua Jinyao. Su Qingsang had enough. Stop it. I still have to work tomorrow. She was really tired today. There were a lot of things to do in the hospital on Monday. She also went to buy groceries and came back to cook. She was really tired now. Hua Jinyao, can't you stop for a day? No. Hua Jinyao began to take off her clothes. You have to know that this is what you promised. So, honey, keep your promise. Hua Jinyao, her cry was drowned in his kiss. He pressed his lips against hers and whispered, Call me husband. Su Qingsang's face turned red. Are you going to call me that? There had been too many things happening recently, and Hua Jinyao hadn't been satisfied. Be good. I'll only do it once. If you're not good, I won't hesitate to do it a few more times. No. Su Qingsang realized that her voice was a little hoarse. She looked at Hua Jinyao. This guy was used to threatening her. Husband. Call me that again. Husband? Hua Jingyao was satisfied, but he didn't keep his promise. Instead, he came a few more times as if he had tasted the meat. It couldn't be helped. This was the only time Su Qingsang was willing to give in, and only when she gave in would she call him hubby in such a soft tone. He really didn't want to tell her that he was even more excited when she called him husband. It was better not to let her know such a little secret. But did Su Qingsang really not know? Of course not. Su Qingsang checked a pregnant woman's body, wrote a checklist for her, and set up a file for her next prenatal checkup. After a busy morning, Su Qingsang's back was a little weak when she got up. She couldn't help but reach out to rub her back. "Dr. Su, are you tired?" Li Meilin looked at Su Qingsang with some concern in her eyes. "Our hospital is like this. When we're busy we'll be in a daze. You might not be used to it yet." "It's okay." What made Su Qingsang feel tired was not the small things in the hospital, but the torment of Hua Jingyao last night. She was clearly making chicken soup. Why did she feel that Hua Jingyao might have drunk tonic soup? "Dr. Su." Li Ting's voice interrupted Su Qingsang's thoughts. She put away the medical records on the table and looked at her. "What's wrong?" "It's embarrassing to say it. I also know that you just came and it's not your turn to be on duty yet. But," Li Ting looked a little uncomfortable. "Can you help me after work tonight?" "Sure. No problem." Su Qingsang agreed so quickly that Li Ting didn't need to explain the rest. "It's my boyfriend's birthday today." Li Ting put her hands together and looked at Su Qingsang gratefully. "Thank you so much." "You're welcome. It's a small matter." She was only on duty. She had promised Hua Jingyao to have dinner with him tonight, but it seemed that she couldn't do it now. When it was time to get off work, Su Qingsang checked the patients and expectant mothers in the ward again. She went back to the office and planned to eat the takeout she had just ordered. She just sat down and opened the takeout package. Nurse Kalan came to call her. She quickly got up and walked out. The emergency department sent a pregnant woman. Her belly was already very big. She had been hit by a car. Su Qingsang quickened her pace. In the reception room, a pregnant woman was lying there and screaming. A very tall man stood beside her. Su Qingsang immediately went up to examine the pregnant woman. The pregnant woman suddenly grabbed her hand, pointed at the tall man standing beside her and said, "Doctor, doctor, have someone keep an eye on him. Don't let him run away. He hit me." "It's him?" Su Qingsang looked at the pregnant woman who was so agitated and patted her hand. Calm down. I'll examine you first." Yes, examine carefully. Don't let this person run away." Su Qingsang nodded and took out a stethoscope from her pocket. The moment she put it on, she glanced at the tall figure behind her from the corner of her eye. Just one look and she was stunned. Wasn't this the police uncle who acted bravely for a just cause last time? When the man noticed her gaze, his expression didn't change, but he stood even straighter. Su Qingsang couldn't help but look at him again because of his action. She reached out and was about to pull the curtain on the edge of the examination bed, but the pregnant woman screamed again. "Doctor, you can't pull it up. You can't pull it up. What if he runs away if you pull it up?" Su Qingsang frowned. Thinking of the last time this policeman helped to arrest the thief, she instinctively believed that such a person wouldn't do such a thing. "Ma'am, when I examine you, I have to lift your clothes. May I ask if he is your husband?" The pregnant woman's expression was a little ugly. "Then what if he runs away? There are nurses outside. If you are really worried, I can ask the nurses to keep an eye on him. Is that okay?" Yes. The pregnant woman agreed. Su Qingsang pulled the curtain and lowered her head to examine the pregnant woman. The pregnant woman kept screaming in pain. However, her eyes were fixed on the policeman outside the curtain behind Su Qingsang. She kept saying that she couldn't let him run away. Su Qingsang had worked in Rong City Hospital for some time. Looking at the woman in front of her, her intuition told her that something was wrong. "Ma'am, can you please be quiet? I can't examine you if you keep making so much noise." Su Qingsang's words finally made the pregnant woman calm down. If she didn't speak, it would be convenient for Su Qingsang to examine her. She was about 6 months pregnant, and the specific pregnancy date would only be known after the examination. However, the pregnant woman didn't forget to say that she wouldn't let the policeman go while screaming in pain. Chapter 481. However, seeing that the pregnant woman was still screaming in pain, she could only examine the pregnant woman first. She gently moved her hand on the pregnant woman's belly. "Does it hurt here?" "Yes, it's here." "Then what about here?" "It hurts here too. It hurts everywhere." The pregnant woman screamed loudly. "My entire stomach hurts." "What kind of pain is it?" Is it convulsive or intermittent? Can you describe it? How would I know how to describe it? Anyway, I just feel pain. Why does it hurt? That's the doctor's business, right? Do you know how to do it? The pregnant woman's voice didn't interfere with Su Qingsang's judgment. She lowered her head and continued to examine the pregnant woman. Finally, Su Qingsang straightened up and looked at the pregnant woman lying there. Madam, there's nothing wrong with your body. Everything looks normal. Normal? How is that possible? The pregnant woman suddenly sat up. Her movements were very nimble. How can it be normal? I was hit by a car. I was hit by a car he was driving. As she spoke, the woman pulled the hem of her clothes and was about to sit up. Su Qingsang looked at the woman's nimble movements and had an idea in her mind. However, before she could move, the pregnant woman seemed to have thought of something. She didn't get up but grabbed Su Qingsang's hand. Are you a doctor? Do you know how to treat patients? I was hit by a car. How can I be fine? Su Qingsang frowned as she looked at the pregnant woman holding her hand. It was such a spirited voice and holding her hand so hard. It would be strange if there was a problem. Madam, can you let go of me first? I won't let go. What kind of doctor are you? My stomach is hurting now. I was hit by a car and my stomach hurts. How can you say that I'm fine? As the pregnant woman spoke, she didn't let go of Su Qingsang's hand and covered her stomach with one hand. It looked like she was in pain. Su Qingsang calmed herself down and said, Madam, is this okay? I checked you just now and everything is normal. But if you still feel pain, I'll write you a list and you can go for further examination. Okay. I want a full set of examinations. The pregnant woman's voice was full of energy. But soon she covered her stomach and cried. Su Qingsang looked at her and thought of one of the possibilities she had just mentioned, so she looked at her and asked tentatively. Our colleagues in the ultrasound room should be off work at this time. You might not be able to get an ultrasound today. Why don't you come again tomorrow? How can I come tomorrow? My stomach is going to kill me tomorrow. When the pregnant woman screamed, Su Qingsang had already confirmed her guess, but she still added another sentence. Of course, you can also go through the admission procedures now and stay here for one night. You can go through the checkup tomorrow. Then I'll stay for one night. What the pregnant woman said confirmed Su Qingsang's guess. She nodded and said, All right, I'll write the admission form for you. I'll ask the nurse to take you to the ward now. Is that okay? I want that person to do it. At this time, the pregnant woman did not forget to point at the tall man outside. He bumped into me. Of course he has to send me home. He's going to pay for you. You have to pay a deposit if you want to stay in the hospital. Yes. Let him pay the deposit. The pregnant woman was relieved. Su Qingsang asked Kalan to take the pregnant woman to the ward. She watched the pregnant woman walk out, not forgetting to tell the tall man not to leave. She told him to wait and teach him a lesson. Then she looked at the tall man. The police officer was also looking at her. He had been standing outside just now, so he had heard what Su Qingsang said. Looking at him from a close distance, Su Qingsang found that the man's facial features were not only handsome, but also strong. His skin was the color of wheat and he looked healthy. He also had a strong body, which was obvious that he worked out regularly. Where do I pay? The man didn't seem to notice Su Qingsang's gaze and asked casually. Listening to the voice, it sounded a little cold. Su Qingsang waved her hand and said, There's nothing for you to do here. You can go now. Zhang Yichen didn't expect to hear something like that. He was dazed for a second and asked, What did you say? I said you can go now. There's nothing for you to do here. Zhang Yichen still stood there without moving. Su Qingsang raised her eyebrows and blinked at him. Am I wrong? The one inside isn't trying to blackmail me? Zhang Yichen finally looked at Su Qingsang and asked, How did you know? She screamed so loudly, but the sound of the baby's heart was very strong. She was screaming in pain, but she didn't look nervous at all. If she was really worried about the baby, she wouldn't have the time to ask you for help. She would have cried and begged me to save her baby. Anyway, she probably just wanted to blackmail you. Even if she didn't, she just wanted to take this opportunity to blackmail you. If you don't leave now, are you going to wait for her family to come and ask you for help? Zhang Yichen looked at Su Qingsang with a hint of surprise in his eyes and said seriously, You're very smart. You're welcome. It's normal. Su Qingsang made a gesture of invitation. She had a feeling that the pregnant woman would call for help since the man in front of her was such a big man. If she was right, the help should be here soon. Thank you. Zhang Yichen's car had a dashcam. However, the woman was a pregnant woman and she was screaming so miserably. He could only choose to send him to the nearest hospital. As for whether the woman was blackmailing him or not, he didn't think too much at the time. When the pregnant woman walked into the hospital, he realized what was going on. However, he thought it would take him some time to solve the problem. He didn't expect to meet such a smart doctor. His eyes fell on the name tag on Su Qingsang's chest. Su Qingsang's name was written on it. "You're welcome. You should leave now." "I'm afraid you won't be able to leave if you don't leave now." Zhang Yichen nodded but didn't listen to her. "What will you do if I leave?" Su Qingsang wanted to laugh. She looked at the serious look on the man's face and said half-jokingly, "Yeah. What will I do? I'll let you go. Maybe I'll pay for the medicine myself. If worst comes to worst, that woman might start pestering me. What a headache. Then I'll go pay for the medicine." "I'm kidding. Were all police officers so serious nowadays?" Su Qingsang was afraid of him. "I'm sorry. I'll be fine. But if you don't leave now, I'll really be in trouble." Zhang Yichen gave her a meaningful look. He remembered that he had a mission later, so he nodded to Su Qingsang and left. When he walked to the entrance of the hospital, he saw 3 to 5 men walking in this direction in a hurry. He raised his eyebrows and took a step to the side. He heard the leader of the group say, "Where's that guy? Hurry. I can't let that bastard get away." Zhang Yichen heard Su Qingsang's words, but he was still worried. On the one hand, he was curious about how that woman would solve the problem. He glanced at the time. He had about 15 minutes left, so he decided to follow the men. Su Qingsang had guessed that someone would come to make trouble for her, but she didn't expect it to be so soon. Seeing the fierce look on the leader of the group, she calmly said, "Hello, you're Li Hong's family, right? She's been transferred to the inpatient department." "The inpatient department? She's in the hospital? Is my son okay?" Li Hong's husband asked in a loud voice. Su Qingsang felt her ears hurt. She nodded and said, "My son is fine. We've done a preliminary check, but your wife was worried." "Where's that guy?" Li Hong's husband rolled up his sleeves, looking like he was going to get even with someone. "I told him to pay the hospital fee. He should be back soon," Su Qingsang said calmly. Li Hong's husband glanced at the men behind him and said, "Let's go. Go block the way." Su Qingsang stood there without moving. She was worried that one of the men was left behind to guard the hospital. In less than 5 minutes, Li Hong's husband came back with the men. "Where's that guy? Didn't you say he went to pay the hospital fee?" Su Qingsang blinked and looked at the man in shock. "What? He's gone? What should I do?" "I told him to pay the hospital fee." She looked serious, but she felt a little embarrassed. "Police officer. I'm so sorry. You'll be charged with a hit and run. I didn't do it on purpose. For your own good." Li Hong's husband started arguing. Half of the men said they would chase the man out of the hospital, while the other half said they would make the hospital take the blame. Su Qingsang listened to their quarrel and shouted, "Stop. Where's that guy? He said he went to pay the hospital fee. I thought he really went to pay the hospital fee. But he didn't. So I want to ask which one of you paid the hospital fee. After all, Li Mei has other tests tomorrow." "What fees? What fees?" Li Hong's husband stared at Su Qingsang angrily. "Didn't you say that my wife is fine? We're not staying in the hospital anymore. Let's go." "Not staying in the hospital anymore?" Su Qingsang said awkwardly, "But I've already written the bill. And the fees for the test just now. In other words, you can't leave. I'm waiting for you to pay the hospital fee." Li Hong's husband panicked. He took 2 big steps back and waved his hand. "Go and find that guy. Didn't he hit the man?" "Yes, but he ran away. You guys can go and find him. We don't have money. We don't have money." "Yes, we don't have money. We're not staying in the hospital." The men behind him agreed. One of them pulled the husband's arm and said in a low voice, "Brother, hurry up and take Li Mei out of the hospital. Otherwise, the hospital will be in trouble. Maybe they won't let us leave." "How dare they? We didn't do anything. We haven't even checked in yet. Let's go. Let's go." While talking, Li Hong's husband rushed toward the inpatient department, as if he was afraid that Su Qingsang would make trouble for them. They were going to take Li Hong out of the hospital. Su Qingsang pretended to call after them, but she didn't actually try to catch up with them. After Li Hong's husband and the others left, she couldn't help but laugh out loud. Zhang Yichen had been hiding in the dark, watching everything. He watched Su Qingsang deal with those people as if she was acting real, and watched her smile brightly after they left. His lips couldn't help but curl up a little. Chapter 482. The first lunar month was coming to an end. Lin City, which was located in the south, was still a bit chilly. The heater in the office was turned on, but Li Qinshua's voice was cold. Sign it. Didn't you say so? You can't sign until you see me. Now that you've seen it, you can sign it. Su Qinghui looked at Li Qinshu. He hadn't seen her for more than a week. He never knew that there would be a day when he would miss someone like this. Moreover, it was someone who had already become his ex-wife. Qinshu, I don't want to sign. Li Qinshu gritted her teeth and was about to explode. But she resisted. Su Qinghui. I always thought that you were a gentleman, but now I realize that you can't even be called a villain, let alone a gentleman. Are you getting more and more skilled at going back on your word? I'm not going back on my word. He just didn't want to cut off the last connection with her. If he broke off this connection, it would be difficult for him to even see Li Qinshu in the future. I just can't bear to part with you. Li Qinshu looked as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. There was only mockery on her face. You can't bear to part with me? Or are you reluctant to part with the wealth of the Li family? Before Su Qinghui could say anything, Li Qinshu interrupted him. Su Qinghui, if you still want to save face, don't force me to go too far. I've seen what you've done for the Li Corporation all these years. But I've already given you what I should. Let me give you a piece of advice. It's better not to be too greedy. Otherwise, the gains will not make up for the losses and you'll end up with nothing. Qinshu. Su Qinghui knew that Li Qinshu had lost all trust in him after more than 20 years of cold treatment, neglect, and what happened to Su Qingsang. But even if she didn't believe him, he still had to say, I don't want any of the Li family's assets. I can also return all of the Li Corporation's shares. Even the houses, funds, and stocks under my name, as long as you say it, I can transfer them all to your name. I just hope we don't get divorced. Li Qinshu had run out of patience. It was just a few sentences. He didn't say he was annoyed, but she was tired of listening to him. Yes, not divorce. If you don't divorce, you will still be the son-in-law of the Li Group. If you don't divorce me, you will still be my husband. Wouldn't that mean you could do whatever you wanted? Su Qinghui, do you really think that I'm still that ignorant little girl from more than 20 years ago? Do you really think that I can do whatever you want just because I love you? I didn't think so. In fact, if he could turn back time, if one day he knew that he would fall in love with Li Qinshu, he would definitely have treated her better back then. She wouldn't have done so many wrong things, causing her to be irredeemable. All right. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Sign it. Li Qinshu pushed the divorce agreement to Su Qinghui. He sat across the desk from her. For the divorce agreement, she called Su Qinghui several times after she came back, but he refused to sign it. He only said that he would sign it after seeing her. She didn't want to see him, so he came to the company. Li Qinshu felt annoyed and disgusted. She hated herself for being blind back then. How could she fall in love with such a shameless, vulgar man who had no bottom line? Her name was tied to Su Qinghui's for even an hour, let alone one more day. Qinshu. Su Qinghui looked at the agreement in black and white and felt his eyes begin to sting. Can you give me another chance? How much she had loved him in the past, how much she had fawned over him, how much she had humbled him now. As time passed, the roles between the two of them had been swapped. Give you a chance? What chance? A chance to hurt me? Or a chance to lie to me? Thank you, no need. Su Qinghui, I'm really not that cheap. She had given her all for more than 20 years. For this man she had even become a mistress. She had also borne the notoriety. She had done things that were out of her character. However, this man had used her love to stab her again and again. Li Qinshu blinked her eyes and suppressed those negative emotions. It's enough for someone to say that I'm cheap once. I won't be cheap a second time. Su Qinghui, I've been cheap in front of you for more than 20 years. Isn't that enough? Qinshu, I didn't. Su Qinghui began to feel uncomfortable because of her words. He wanted to explain, but she didn't give him a chance. You gave me a cold shoulder for more than 20 years because of Xiang Kaiping. You even asked me to help that woman raise her daughter for more than 20 years. To be honest, I really feel that even if I was cheap back then and accidentally provoked you and forced you to marry me, I owe you. But after so many years, I should have paid off what I owe you, right? It would have been better if she didn't say it. The more she said, the more Su Qinghui felt uncomfortable. Don't say it anymore. Qinshu, I beg you. Don't say it anymore. He knew what he had done better than she did. It was also because of this that he regretted, felt guilty, and blamed himself. Okay, don't say it. Let's get back to business. Sign it. I really don't want to keep arguing with you. It's too boring. Li Qinshu didn't want to bring up the past. She remembered when she got married, she naively thought that she could move Su Qinghui. She stubbornly believed that as long as she was given time, one day she could make Su Qinghui fall in love with her through hard work. But now it seemed that she was too naive. She was naive, shameless and shameless. Now he would let her be herself again and be the vice president of the Li Corporation. The daughter of the Li family, right? Su Qinghui sat there without moving. He looked at the pen in front of him and felt that his hand was 1,000 pounds heavy. He couldn't lift it at all. He used to be so proud and disdainful in front of her. Now he was so reluctant. But what could he do to make Li Qianxue agree not to divorce? In Li Qianxue's eyes, his attitude was so disgusting that it made her want to vomit. At a time like this, he put on such a reluctant expression. To put it bluntly, he was unwilling to give up the benefits brought by the Li Corporation and the Li family. Those who didn't know better would think that he was very affectionate towards her. It was really enough. Li Qianxue tried her best to control her emotions and not lose control. Looking at the time, another 5 minutes passed, and her last patience was exhausted. Su Qinghui, can you sign it quickly so that we can part ways on good terms? To be honest, if it weren't for Qing Sang persuading me to part ways with you before I came back, I wouldn't have come to see you at all. So, please, for the sake of the 2 children, sign it. Otherwise it will be too ugly. It's not good for the children. Su Qinghui raised his head and looked at her because of her words. Qing Sang? Yes, Su Qing Sang. Your daughter. The daughter that you don't value, don't like, and haven't loved for more than 20 years. Thinking of Su Qing Sang, Li Qianxue felt sorry again. Her daughter was so good. Why did Su Qinghui treat her like this? Do you know? You treated Qing Sang so badly, but when I came back she kept persuading me to talk to you. Don't make it too ugly. Ha, Su Qinghui, Qing Sang really treats you as her father. She respects you and takes care of your face. But you? Touch your conscience and ask yourself. What have you done for Qing Sang in the past 20 years? Not to mention Su Qing Sang, even for Su Yusin, what had Su Qinghui done for him? She had wondered why Su Qinghui insisted on sending Su Yusin to boarding school. It turned out that he didn't treat them as his own children and didn't feel sorry for them. Thinking of this, Li Qianxue became even angrier. It would have been fine if Su Qinghui had only been bad to her all these years, but he had also been bad to the 2 children. Especially after Su Peijian was the comparison. She couldn't forgive Su Qinghui even more. For any mother, her own children were her reverse scale. Su Qinghui not only stepped on her bottom line, but also touched her reverse scale. Su Qinghui was silent again. He did feel very sorry for Su Qing Sang. Especially when he thought about sending Su Qing Sang to the orphanage, he felt even more guilty. Although he didn't in the end, he couldn't deny Li Qianxue's words. With very slow movements, he took out the pen he brought with him from his pocket. Speaking of which, this pen was given to him by Li Qianxue. That year on his birthday she gave him a gift. At first he wanted to throw it aside and not use it. But in the end he stayed. The last time he went home to pack his things he accidentally saw it, so he picked it up and used it again. What he remembered, Li Qianxue naturally remembered too. Seeing Su Qinghui take out this pen at this time, she only felt that this man was even more disgusting. She had given him a pen for so many years, but he hadn't used it. Now that they were going to divorce, he pretended to take it out. What was he trying to do? Was he mocking her? Li Qianxue wanted to stab him a little, but she thought that he was about to sign it now. Immediately, the 2 of them would have nothing to do with each other. She didn't want to say it anymore. No matter how disgusting Su Qinghui was, this was the only thing that disgusted her. After he signed, she asked someone to complete the procedures. From then on, he was him and she was herself. Su Qinghui picked up the document and started reading. In fact, he had read it many times. He knew and remembered every clause and every condition in it. He just wanted to delay for a while more. Su Qinghui's pen had already landed on the paper, and Li Qianxue was relieved. But she didn't expect him to suddenly stop. Wait a minute. She knew it. Li Qianxue's expression was unfriendly. What else do you want? Nothing much. Su Qinghui swallowed and looked at Li Qianxue's expression. Yusin's guardianship. If he didn't say it, Li Qianxue would have forgotten. When people in Lin City talked about age, they didn't mean it. Su Yusin was born at the end of the year, so he was 18 years old. The previous birthday was also an imaginary birthday. In fact, there was still nearly a year before he turned 18. Li Qianxue clenched her fists. There doesn't seem to be anything to argue about, right? After all, you didn't want this child. Chapter 483. Of course, he knew how Su Yusin came to be, but even if he knew, he was already regretting it now. No matter what, he is my son. I can't. Su Qinghui. Li Qianxue had really had enough. She stood up and looked down at Su Qinghui's elegant face. Yusin will be an adult in 10 months at most. Do you think he is still at the age where he needs a guardian? That's not what I mean. As long as he is not an adult, I have the right. You don't. Li Qianxue didn't back down. Su Qinghui, if you want money, property, or even shares in the company, I can give them to you. But these two children are mine. Don't even think about getting any of it. They are also my children. Have you ever treated them as your children? Li Qianxue glared at him. When have you ever treated them as your children? Needless to say, Qingsang was almost sent to an orphanage by you. But what about Yusen? Have you ever seen a family like ours in Lin City that sends their children to live in school? After Su Peijian's background came to light, she had some doubts about those things that she had been a little puzzled about before. Besides, I don't need to remind you how Yusen came to this world, right? Li Qianshua's voice was like a knife, and every word was fatal. This sentence directly poked Su Qinghui's weak spot, and his face was whiter than paper for a moment. Li Qianxue thought of what happened when Su Yusen was born, and the corner of her mouth raised with a touch of mockery. That was for him and also for herself. In the past she was really too silly and silly. Su Qinghui lowered his head and closed his eyes. As Li Qianxue said, he really had no right to mention Su Yusen's guardianship. At that time he was obsessed. Not only did he not like Su Qingsang, but he also regarded Su Yusen's existence as his shame. His hands trembled even more violently, and he felt that his eyes were wet, swollen, and sore. Looking at the signature place, Li Qianxue had already signed her name. Her handwriting was specially practiced, and her handwriting was very beautiful, just like her. That beautiful name was written on it, reminding him that once he signed it, there was no turning back. He suddenly raised his head and looked at Li Qianxue with red eyes. Qianxue, if I sign it, can you forgive me? She forgave him for being blinded by greed, forgave him for his mistakes, forgave him for his ignorance, forgave him for not realizing his own feelings and made her suffer so much. Forgive? Li Qianxue looked into Su Qinghui's eyes. Her face was expressionless, but her heart was as hard as stone. She would never forgive him. Not ever. Any one of the things he had done to her was enough to make her suffer for the rest of her life. But not only did he do it, he did it more than once. She looked away, refusing to answer the question. Su Qinghui suddenly understood what was going on. Look, this was Li Qianshue's personality. She dared to love and hate. He didn't even bother to lie. With trembling hands, he signed his name on the triplicate agreement. Every word he wrote was as painful as a knife cutting into his heart. He wrote all the way to the last word. After signing the date, he raised his head to look at Li Qianxue. Qianxue, I'm sorry. He owed her a lot, and it was no longer something that could be made up for with the word, sorry. But now he only had these 3 words left. Li Qianxue didn't say anything. She reached out and took 2 of the 3 agreements. Tomorrow I'll ask Lawyer Chen to complete the procedures. The divorce certificate will be sent to you then. Her voice was calm and emotionless. Su Qinghui felt uncomfortable when he heard that. Qianxue. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. This office belonged to Su Qinghui. Li Qianxue used to come here often when she had nothing to do. Of course it was mostly to talk about work. But now she said, Li Corporation, you don't have to stay. I think with your current methods and abilities, even without the Li Corporation you won't be too bad. Right? I'll leave tomorrow. Su Qinghui's heart ached, but he still wanted to talk to her a little more. Our previous cooperation with Tianyu is almost done. There's still a part of it, Su Qinghui. Li Qianxue interrupted him. She clenched the document with extra force. Please don't forget. I've been the vice president of the Li Corporation for more than 10 years. Su Qinghui was embarrassed for a moment. He nodded and looked a little uncomfortable. Yes. You've been in this position for more than 10 years. Li Qianxue didn't want to say more and turned to leave. However, Su Qinghui stood in front of her again. Can I go see Yusen? Li Qianxue took a deep breath and looked at him with a sharp gaze. Yusen is your son. I won't stop you from seeing him. Not only Yusen but also Qingsang. I won't stop you from seeing him. But one thing is, they're all grown up. They're not children anymore. How they treat you is their business. I won't participate and I won't interfere. Seeing that Su Qinghui obviously wanted to speak, Li Qianxue took a big step back. She raised the document and put it between the 2 of them. The resistance on her face was too obvious, and Su Qinghui felt more and more uncomfortable. He thought for a long time. He couldn't say the last word of what he wanted to say. In the end he could only say, Qianxue, goodbye. If there's a chance, let me see you again. Let's start over. I'll pursue you again. I'll treat you well. Can I? Li Qianxue felt that it was ironic. Su Qinghui was getting older and more pretentious. Su Qinghui. Goodbye. She dropped these 5 words lightly. Her goodbye and his goodbye were obviously not the same thing. Li Qianxue turned around and walked out of Su Qinghui's office in her exquisite high heels. The moment the door closed, Li Qianxue's eyes turned red. Goodbye, never again. The tears she had shed for that man, the suffering she had suffered for that man, the foolishness she had made for that man, all of them were goodbye now. She was still young, only in her 40s. She wanted to start over, leave that man behind, and live her own life. When Su Qingsang received Li Qianxue's call, she had just come out of an internship surgery. Why did she say internship? She had just come here and was not familiar with the staff arranged in the operating theater. These all took time to understand and adapt. Coincidentally, Sun Huiya had a surgery today, so she went in to observe. After coming out of the operating theater, Su Qingsang looked at Sun Huiya. Director Sun, your technique just now was really amazing. No wonder when I came here, Teacher Zhang told me to learn more from you. Although Sun Huiya and Zhang Qiubai were classmates, there were many patients in the hospital here, and there were many surgeries arranged. After so many surgeries, her skills were naturally better than Zhang Qiubai's. Alright. Don't praise me. Old Zhang isn't bad either. Didn't he also teach such an outstanding student like you? Sun Huiya still liked Su Qingsang and was willing to teach her more. If you really praise me, then learn well. This is your world in the future. Okay. Su Qingsang nodded. I'll go take notes now. Seeing Su Qingsang run away, Sun Huiya couldn't help but laugh. This child. She had some of old Zhang's diligence back then. She was a good seedling. Su Qingsang was taking notes of today's surgery when Li Qianxue called. Mom? Su Qingsang was a little surprised to receive Li Qianxue's call. They had just spoken on the phone last night. Yes, this was also something that Li Qianxue had to do when she went back. She had to video call every night. Yes. Qingsang, are you at work? Yes. Mom, are you busy right now? Nothing, I just miss you. Su Qingsang looked at her phone and sensitively noticed that Li Qianxue seemed to be a little depressed on the other end of the phone. Then I'll video call you when I get home tonight. Okay, then you go ahead. I'll call you again tonight. Su Qingsang was about to hang up when she suddenly seemed to have thought of something and said, Mom, if something happens, don't think too much. Just think about me and then think about Yusin. You don't only have me, you also have Yusin. No matter what, they would stand behind Li Qianxue and support her. Li Qianxue didn't expect to hear Su Qingsang's comfort, and her eyes became a little wet for a moment. You child, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm not thinking too much. After hanging up the phone, Li Qianxue wasn't as calm as she appeared. Lawyer Chen moved very quickly. She had given him the agreement in the morning, and in the afternoon he had sent the divorce certificate and some related procedures over. She looked at the dark red divorce certificate in front of her, picked up the red wine on the side and began to drink. However, after taking 2 sips, her eyes became blurred by tears. No matter how calm she was, to give up a relationship of more than 20 years was enough to make her want to die. It was like digging out the rotten flesh on her heart without anesthesia. It hurt so much. But if she didn't dig it out, the rotten flesh would continue to corrode inside, and she was afraid that it would be even more painful in the future. It was actually quite good like this. At least after this pain she wouldn't be in pain again in the future. Su Qinghui, after today she finally broke up with him and had nothing to do with him from now on. And don't think about affecting me in the slightest. When Su Qingsang finished her work at night and went home to video call Li Qianxue, she had already calmed down. In fact, Li Qianxue was such a person. Even if she was riddled with holes on the inside on the surface, she would still make herself look bright and beautiful. This was her pride. In some ways, Su Qingsang was quite similar to her. Su Qingsang told Li Qianxue about her work in the past few days. Perhaps sensing that Li Qianxue wasn't in a good mood in the afternoon, Su Qingsang tried her best to cheer Li Qianxue up. After being coaxed like this, Li Qianxue didn't feel down anymore. After chatting with her daughter for a long time, she finally told Su Qingsang about her divorce with Su Qinghui. Chapter 484. Su Qingsang was stunned for a moment, although she already knew about this. But when she heard it out of the blue, she was a little surprised. She thought that Su Qinghui wouldn't sign it. No matter what, Su Qinghui didn't look like someone who would sign a divorce agreement. She still remembered the way Su Qinghui looked at Li Qianxue. At that time she had a very subtle feeling. Unexpectedly, Dad. Did he agree? Yes. I signed it this morning and the paperwork will be done this afternoon. Li Qianxue's voice was calm, as if she was talking about someone else's business. Su Qingsang looked at Li Qianshue's face on the screen. She didn't look sad but relieved. He sighed in his heart for Li Qianxue and for Su Qinghui. It seemed like it was all her misconception earlier. Maybe Su Qinghui didn't love Li Qianxue, but he didn't want to give up his identity as the son-in-law of the Li family. Otherwise, why would he sign it? These are all adult matters. You don't have to think about it. I'm just telling you. After all, even if he divorced me, he would still be your father. Of course, you also have the right to decide how you want to treat him in the future. Li Qianxue didn't think what she said was too much. After all these years, Su Qinghui had never done anything for her two children. He only had eyes for Su Peijian. He only had superficial feelings for the remaining two children. Since that was the case, it was understandable that Su Qingsang and Su Yusin did not want to acknowledge him as their father when they grew up. However, Li Qianxue would not make decisions for the children. They were all grown up and had their own thoughts and ideas. She would not impose her own thoughts on them. On the one hand, Su Qingsang found Li Qianshue's words funny, but on the other hand she felt helpless. She was no longer a child. In addition, she hadn't been close to Su Qinghui for so many years. Although she was concerned about Su Qinghui, she wouldn't really dwell on it too much. But Su Yusin was different. Over the past few months, she had gained a better understanding of Su Yusin's personality. He was afraid that Su Yusin would not be able to get over this so easily. Mom, don't worry. No matter what happens between you and Dad, you will always be my mom and he will always be my dad. Hearing that, Li Qianxue felt both gratified and sad. More than anything else, she hated Su Qinghui. He had done so many wrong things, but look at his children. All of them still cared about the little father-son relationship they had with him. But what about Su Qinghui? Apart from Su Peijian, was there anyone else in his eyes? Su Qingsang comforted Li Qianxue with a few more words. Seeing that Li Qianxue really didn't seem to be in trouble, she ended the call. She put down the phone and heard voices outside. She got up and went out, only to find that Hua Jinyao had returned. You're back. Hua Jinyao had a business meeting that night, so he didn't come home for dinner. Yeah. Hua Jinyao sat down on the sofa and pulled her onto his lap when she approached. Have you eaten? The person Hua Jinyao asked Yang Wenchang to find had arrived today. How's Ms. Yu's cooking? Auntie Yu was a part-time helper that Yang Wenchang had picked out from a dozen or so domestic helpers. It was fine to let Su Qingsang cook once in a while, but how could Hua Jinyao bear to let her cook all the time? Not bad. Su Qingsang nodded and rubbed her face against his chest. Hua Jinyao lowered his head to look at her. He was sensitive enough to notice that her emotions weren't quite right. What's wrong? You don't like her? It has nothing to do with Ms. Yu. Su Qingsang knew that she couldn't hide this matter. Hua Jinyao would find out sooner or later. She told him about Li Qianxue and Su Qinghui's divorce. I didn't expect that my judgment would be wrong. She thought that Su Qinghui had feelings for Li Qianxue, but now it seemed that she had thought too much. Hua Jinyao didn't comment, but he said, don't be anxious. I think this matter may not be as you think. Su Qingsang shook her head. You may not know my mother well. I've lived with her for so many years. Although I wasn't familiar with her before, there are some things that I can still see. Li Qianshue's personality was extreme. She either loved or hated someone. After signing the contract today, it would be impossible for her and Su Qinghui to be together in the future. Hua Jinyao suddenly reached out and pinched her face. He pinched a little hard and her face turned red. She was a little annoyed and slapped the back of his hand hard. What are you doing? I said, aren't you tired? Hua Jinyao rubbed her blushing face with his hand. His clear voice sounded a little helpless. You're already an adult and your brother is also growing up. Even if your parents get divorced, it won't affect you. Don't you think you're worrying too much? Su Qingsang pursed her lips. She didn't feel tired, but she was a little emotional. Hua Jinyao, do you think that people can't make mistakes as long as they're alive? Once a person makes a mistake, there's no chance to redeem it? Hua Jinyao thought of Su Qinghui and actually felt quite speechless about his father-in-law. That depends on what kind of mistake it is, right? After all, not all mistakes in this world are worth forgiving. Of course, Su Qingsang knew that what he said made sense. But she was still depressed. I don't know what's going on. I didn't think much of it before, but recently, I've started to feel that my father is quite pitiful. There must be something hateful about a pitiful person. Who could he blame for his own actions? Su Qingsang suddenly glared at Hua Jinyao. I think you're quite gloating. Wife. I'm not gloating. I'm sobering up. He held Su Qingsang's hand and said very seriously, think about it. Isn't it a tragedy for a person to live until he knows what's most important to him? If he were a smart person, he would have known what was most important to him earlier. Then he wouldn't have ended up like he did today. From the son-in-law of the Li family to an ordinary person with nothing. The gap between them was not small. Su Qinghui's biggest mistake was probably that he had never seriously thought about what was most important to him and what he wanted to keep the most. Su Qingsang understood these principles, but how many people in this world could understand what they wanted from the beginning? Many people often lived in a daze for their whole lives and still didn't understand what they wanted. All right. Don't think about your father. He's already an adult. Let him worry about his own things. If he really still had feelings for Li Qianxue, Su Qinghui would naturally take action. After all, he was still young. If he didn't take action, he was afraid that both of them would regret this life. If Su Qinghui didn't have feelings for Li Qianxue and only wanted the benefits brought by the Li family and the Li family, then it would be good for them to divorce. Either way, it shouldn't be something that Su Qingsang as a daughter should care about. I know. She was just a little emotional. If Su Qinghui could wake up a few years ago, he wouldn't. The arm around her waist tightened. Su Qingsang was caught off guard and fell into Hua Jinyao's chest. What do you think, what? Hua Jinyao dragged the last word. Su Qingsang obviously knew that. She patted him on the shoulder and said, "Stop it. My relatives are here." Hua Jinyao's hand, which was about to act presumptuously, suddenly stopped moving. He looked at Su Qingsang with extreme depression. Isn't it a few days? I don't know. Maybe it was because of the change of environment and place. She was early this time. Hua Jinyao took a deep breath, buried his face in Su Qingsang's neck and rubbed it. All right. Go take a shower. Hua Jinyao didn't take a shower as she thought. Instead, he reached out and hugged her waist tightly. Su Qingsang was stunned for a moment. She seemed to have only just realized that Hua Jinyao was a little strange today. Since he came in, she had been the one saying that he was caring about her feelings. However, she seemed to have realized that Hua Jinyao didn't seem to be in a good mood either. What happened? It's nothing. Hua Jinyao's voice was a little low. I just want to hug you. He didn't say anything, so Su Qingsang didn't ask. She put her arms around his back and slightly tightened her grip. This movement allowed her to hear his extremely regular heartbeat. She put her ear against it and spoke in a very low voice. Hua Jinyao, if you have anything to say, you can tell me. Although I don't know much about the company, I will listen. Okay. Hua Jinyao rubbed his forehead and looked at the serious expression on Su Qingsang's face. He smiled and leaned over to kiss the corner of her lips. Su Qingsang slowly got used to the work in the hospital, so there was nothing she was unfamiliar with. After following Sun Huiya to an operation, she began to be the chief surgeon for the subsequent small operations. Later on, she began to participate in the major operations. Su Qingsang slowly became busy. Not only did she have to work during the day, but she also had to be on duty at night. The night shift was divided into the night shift and the night shift. The night shift was fine because she could go home after only staying for the first half of the night. However, the night shift meant that she had to stay in the hospital for the whole night. Su Qingsang wasn't unaccustomed to it. Hua Jinyao was a little distressed that she was overly involved in her work. But as long as it was what she wanted, he didn't stop her. However, he often asked Ms. Yu to make some delicious food or stew some nourishing soup. However, on the weekends, Hua Jinyao would bring Su Qingsang back to the Hua family's old mansion. Old Master Hua was old, so he liked to be lively and crowded. Usually, the Hua family would be more crowded on Friday night. Other than Hua Mingguang's family, there was also Hua Mingliang and Hua Mingmei's family. The atmosphere at the dining table was very lively. Hua Mingmei had been humiliated by Li Qianxue before, so she was very unhappy. Now that she saw Su Qingsang, that unhappiness surfaced again. Speaking of which, Su Qingsang had been in Rong City for more than half a month. This was the first time she had eaten with them since she started working. Because last Friday, Su Qingsang had kindly gone to work for a colleague in their department. Therefore, Su Qingsang wasn't at the party last Friday. Today they bumped into each other. When Hua Mingmei saw Su Qingsang, she thought of how Li Qianxue had humiliated her last time, and the smile on her face became a little fierce. Chapter 485. Hua Jinyao scooped a bowl of soup for Su Qingsang. He had specially asked Aunt Zhou to make this soup. Su Qingsang had been so busy recently that she had dark circles under her eyes. Hua Jinyao felt sorry for her. Have some soup. I'll do it myself. So many people were watching. She was too embarrassed to show off her love in front of so many people, especially when her cold-faced mother-in-law, Lu Tongjia, was sitting across from her. Lu Tongjia looked at the scene in front of her expressionlessly. It was as if she didn't see it. Hua Mingmei, on the other hand, couldn't help but glance at Su Qingsang and clicked her tongue. Speaking of which, Jinyao has changed a lot since he got married. He's really changed a lot. He really cares about his wife. Hua Jinyao's expression didn't change. He even put a fish into Su Qingsang's bowl as if nothing had happened. Of course he should care about his wife. Just like how uncle loves aunt very much, he won't love other women. Isn't that right? Hua Mingmei's expression changed and she almost slammed the table. She was the youngest daughter of old Master Hua, and the Hua family had more sons than daughters. Naturally she was doted on by everyone. Not to mention Hua Yangyuan only had 2 sons. He didn't have a daughter. She was the only girl in the Hua family. She had been spoiled by her father and brother since she was a child. Naturally she had a bad temper. However, she was also obsessed with Wei Nantian, who was inferior to the Hua family in all aspects. The Wei family was good, but it was nothing compared to the Hua family. In recent years, because of the Hua family, the Wei family's business had also improved a lot. With this status, they naturally didn't have to worry about other women trying to use this relationship to climb up. 2 years ago, a secretary of Wei Nantian had other ideas. She pretended to be pitiful and weak, which made Wei Nantian feel pity for her. In the end, Hua Mingmei suppressed it and didn't make a fool of herself. But it wasn't a good thing. Hua Jinyao bringing this up now felt like he was slapping Hua Mingmei in the face. Jinyao, is this how you talk to your elders? Did I say something wrong? Hua Jinyao glanced at Hua Mingmei with an innocent look. Hua Mingmei almost fainted from anger. She turned to Su Qingsang and said, "You're right." He was right. Jinyao was a good kid. In my opinion, the men of the Hua family are all affectionate. It's really a blessing for Qingsang to marry you. And he is wrong. I think it's my good fortune to be able to marry her. Hua Jinyao didn't forget to glance at Su Qingsang as he spoke. His eyes were full of love. Hua Mingmei felt her teeth aching. As Hua Mingmei's aunt, there was no reason for her to put down her status and get angry with a junior like this. However, she really couldn't calm down. The Hua family style was considered strict. From old Master Hua to Hua Mingguang and his brother, there were private disputes, but in matters between men and women, they were very scrupulous. He had chosen his own wife, and he treated his wife with great respect and care. Not only old Master Hua's family, but Hua Yangyuan's family, and even Hua Yangxiu's family were the same. Unfortunately, she was married to Wei Nantian, and Wei Nantian treated her well. At least for the sake of the Hua family he would respect her. However, no one was as considerate as Hua Mingguang was to Lu Tongjia, or as protective as Hua Jinyao was to Su Qingsang. Not to mention what had happened before. It was inevitable that she couldn't hold her head high in front of her parents. She wanted to say more, but Wei Nantian, who was sitting next to her, began to tug at her sleeve again. When she looked up again, she found that old Master Hua's face was a little gloomy. Hua Mingmei stopped talking. She could show off in the Wei family only because of her parents. If she made old Master Hua unhappy, her good days would come to an end. With that in mind, Hua Mingmei stopped talking about what she had just said. Hua Mingliang, who had been sitting quietly and eating, didn't seem to see what was happening. On the contrary, Hua Yifan and Hua Yang felt that the show was not enough because of Hua Mingmei's weak fighting ability. All right, all of you are blessed. I think you should hurry up and give birth to a chubby boy. Then your grandfather will be happy. It would be a great blessing to have 4 generations under one roof. Old Master Hua liked to hear this. He looked at Su Qingsang and became more and more peaceful. Hua Mingmei felt indignant because old Master Hua obviously valued her. She glanced at Su Qingsang's belly and said, "Su Qingsang and Jinyao have been married for more than half a year, right? Why hasn't there been any news yet? Do you not plan to have children or?" "Of course I plan to have children." Hua Jinyao immediately saw Su Qingsang's expression change. He gave her a look and turned to face Hua Mingmei. "But every child is a gift from God. It hasn't come yet. Maybe it's not the right time. When it's the right time it will come." What's more, what he didn't say was that they had only been married for half a year. Many people had been married for more than a year or even several years and hadn't had children. Hua Mingmei's lips moved and old Master Hua glared at her. When he turned to look at Su Qingsang, his expression was still kind. "Qingsang, don't feel pressured. Although I want to have great-grandchildren, you don't feel pressured either." Very few elders would say such kind words to their juniors. Especially to a family like the Hua family. Hua Mingmei now felt that old Master Hua was really biased, but the more he was like this, the more she couldn't say anything. Hui Yifan slightly narrowed his eyes as if thinking of something. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. Even though Huamanzi knew that Su Qingsang was not someone she could afford to offend, she was still a little drunk when she saw that an outsider like her grandfather liked her so much. They felt that old Master Hua was biased, but Su Qingsang felt even more uncomfortable because of his tolerance. Speaking of which, she really didn't plan to have children in a short period of time, but looking at old Master Hua like this, she always felt that she was lying to him, which made her very uncomfortable. This mood lasted until the evening. This week, Su Qingsang had been on duty for a few days and her period had come. Hua Jinyao hadn't been intimate with her for a few days. As soon as he held her in his arms, he noticed that she was not in a good mood. What's wrong? Su Qingsang looked at him and didn't know what to say. After thinking about it, she told him the truth. Hua Jinyao, why do I feel that I'm a little sorry for Grandpa? Why do you think that? Grandpa is old and he wants to have great-grandchildren. But now what are you thinking? Don't worry. Grandpa is just saying. If you really don't have children, he won't beat you up. Hua Jinyao. She was serious. She wasn't a person who couldn't tell good from bad. Old Master Hua had been protecting her since she entered the Hua family. Although she hadn't known him for a long time, she knew that Old Master Hua truly loved her and Hua Jinyao. However, she lied to Old Master Hua, which made her feel very guilty. Hua Jinyao hadn't realized that Su Qingsang was so thoughtful before. Now that he saw it, he actually felt that it was quite fun. I told you, Grandpa really won't mind. Hua Jinyao was afraid that she wouldn't believe him, so he added, Grandpa is not young anymore. His health isn't as good as it used to be. But other than his blood pressure being a little high, he doesn't have any other problems. Don't think too much about it. But, okay. Then let me ask you. Do you want to have children now? Hua Jinyao looked into her eyes and asked very seriously. Su Qingsang pursed her lips into a straight line, and there was a hint of hesitation on her beautiful face. After struggling for nearly a minute, she shook her head gently. Oh. Hua Jinyao, don't be angry. Hua Jinyao, don't be angry. I really don't want to have children now. Not to mention that her work had just improved. It was time for her to show off her skills. Even the shadow in her heart hadn't been completely eliminated. If that's the case, then isn't it settled? Hua Jinyao held her waist in his arms, lowered his head and kissed her face. I've said it before. If you don't want to have children, then don't. This is your right. You don't have to worry about it. If you think you're not ready, then we'll wait for you to be ready. In her eyes, these were big things, but in his eyes, they were small things. More importantly, Hua Jinyao wasn't ready yet. He didn't know how to be a good father. Su Qingsang blinked at him. She had always known that Hua Jinyao was handsome, but for the first time she felt that he was tall and powerful in her heart. He was like a mountain that she could rely on. She couldn't help but raise her head to kiss his lips, and at the same time she put her hands around his neck. It was an extremely rare experience for Hua Jinyao to have his wife take the initiative. It was also very interesting to let the other party take the initiative occasionally. However, Hua Jinyao wasn't satisfied with this. It was rare for his wife to take the initiative, so of course he had to take the opportunity to fight for more rights for himself. That night, naturally, was filled with red waves and boundless spring scenery. The next day was Saturday. Su Qingsang rarely had a rest today. Although she was tortured by Hua Jinyao yesterday. Usually, as long as she was at the Hua family, she would definitely go downstairs to accompany Old Master Hua. The weather in Rong City hadn't warmed up yet. Old Master Hua's health wasn't very good, but he still wore a cotton tai chi suit and practiced boxing outside. Su Qingsang put on a down jacket and followed him out to stand beside him. Grandpa. Morning. Morning. Old Master Hua was especially pleased to see Su Qingsang. He smiled at her and said, Why are you wearing so much? How do you practice boxing? It's okay. This is a thin style. It can be moved. Su Qingsang gestured 2 movements as she spoke. Old Master Hua smiled and said, Okay, do it again as I taught you last time. Let me see. Okay. Su Qingsang didn't hesitate. She moved her limbs and then began to practice. Old Master Hua looked at her and nodded repeatedly. Not bad, not bad. Although the strength is a little lacking, the movements are correct. Thank you, Grandpa. As Su Qingsang spoke, she learned the new movements from Old Master Hua. Then Old Master Hua pointed out her shortcomings and said that she didn't have enough strength. Her punches really didn't have much strength. It couldn't be helped. Hua Jinyao's physical strength was too good. It was already her strength that she could get up in the morning. After practicing boxing, she followed old Master Hua into the house. Aunt Zhou had already prepared breakfast. Su Qingsang and old Master Hua went to their respective rooms to wash up and then went downstairs again. However, as soon as she came down, she saw Lu Tongjia sitting there with a cold face. When she saw her, her face became even more gloomy. Su Qingsang was stunned for a moment and subconsciously looked at Hua Jinyao, who was sitting opposite Lu Tongjia and had come downstairs earlier than her. Hua Jinyao shook his head at her. Su Qingsang calmed down and thought that Hua Jinyao meant that it was okay. However, she didn't know that Hua Jinyao also didn't know what Lu Tongjia was going to do. It was cold outside and the water in the pool was frozen. He wanted to swim in the Hua family's indoor pool. After swimming, he went to the gym for a while. When he came back after a shower, he found Lu Tongjia sitting on the sofa in the living room with a cold face. When she saw him, she asked him to sit down. Therefore, he didn't know what Lu Tongjia wanted to do. He looked at Hua Mingguang, who was sitting next to Lu Tongjia. He seemed to be confused as well. "Mom, if you have something to say, just say it." Hua Jinyao's tone was calm. After all, he hadn't been close to his mother since a long time ago. Today was Saturday, but it didn't mean that he had nothing to do. Lu Tongjia looked upstairs and said, "Don't rush. We have to wait until everyone is here before we talk." As she spoke, she didn't forget to glare at Hua Jinyao. That look really made Hua Jinyao feel uncomfortable. He was about to ask Lu Tongjia what she wanted, but Su Qingsang and old Master Hua had already come downstairs. "Why are you all sitting here? Don't you want breakfast?" Old Master Hua looked at his daughter-in-law's sullen face and was a little unhappy. It was a weekend, and it was rare for the old man to see his grandchildren and daughter-in-law back, but Lu Tongjia put on such a cold face. Even though he knew that Lu Tongjia didn't come for him, it was enough to make old Master Hua unhappy. "Dad, breakfast can wait, but I have to make it clear now." As she spoke, Lu Tongjia stood up and walked over to help old Master Hua. He waved his hand. He wasn't that weak yet. Sitting down on the sofa, old Master Hua's voice was very soft. "Tell me what's the matter?" Lu Tongjia was about to speak, but when she saw Su Qingsang sitting with Hua Jinyao, the dissatisfaction in her eyes became more intense. However, not only was old Master Hua looking at her, but even Hua Mingguang was looking at her. He really didn't understand what she wanted to say. "Dad." Lu Tongjia finally turned her eyes back to old Master Hua. "Speaking of which, I have seen how you have treated Jinyao all these years. I know that you love him the most." This was the truth. As the eldest grandson of the Hua family, Hua Jinyao had been smart and handsome since he was a child. He was especially calm. Ever since he took over the Chanyu group, he had almost never done anything that people would find fault with. Chapter 486. Not to mention the fact that Hua Jinyao had married a daughter-in-law that she didn't like. She didn't like any of the things that had happened after the marriage. She didn't like Su Qingsang's family background at first. She didn't like Su Qingsang's illegitimate daughter. So what if she was Su Qinghui and Li Qinshue's daughter? With a father like that, how much scheming could Su Qingsang have done? How many tricks did she use to make Hua Jinyao marry her? Who knew? Lu Tongjia didn't like Su Qingsang because of Hua Jinyao. Lu Tongjia sighed and said helplessly, "Dad, I always said that you spoiled him. You didn't believe me. Now he's getting older and he's getting more and more out of control." She said all this but didn't say what Hua Jinyao had done. No matter how patient old Master Hua was, he was running out of patience. "Just say it. Don't beat around the bush." Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao looked at Lu Tongjia. Hua Jinyao's first reaction was that Lu Tongjia was going to make a fuss about Su Qingsang's father. Fortunately, he had told his grandfather about it. He wasn't afraid that his grandfather would be unhappy. Moreover, it was Su Qinghui's doing. What did it have to do with Su Qingsang? "Dad." Lu Tongjia thought of what Hua Mingmei had said to her last night, and her lips curled into a mocking smile. "Don't feel uncomfortable about what I'm going to say next." Lu Tongjia glanced at Hua Jinyao with dissatisfaction in her eyes. "Look at Jinyao. What did you say yesterday? This child is a gift from God. A gift from God. I really thought that he wanted to have a chubby boy to satisfy your wish to have a great-grandson. But now I realize that it's a gift from God. It turns out that he never intended to have a child." Hua Mingguang and old Master Hua both looked at Hua Jinyao. Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang were stunned at the same time. They didn't expect Lu Tongjia to say this. "Dad. This morning Xiaojiang went to clean up their room and told me something. I didn't know until now that they were using contraception." Lu Tongjia sneered and stared at Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang sharply. "Is this how you fool your elders? Is this how you treat your grandfather who loves you so much?" In fact, even Lu Tongjia, not to mention old Master Hua. It was one thing to dislike Hu Jingyao, but it was another thing to want a grandson. Many people in Rong City who were the same age as Hu Jingyao were already in kindergarten. Unfortunately, the men in their family all married late. Hu Jingyao got married at the age of 30, which was not early, but he was good. On one hand, you want your grandfather to have a great-grandchild, but on the other hand, you don't want to get pregnant or have children at all. What is this? Outwardly agreeing but inwardly opposing. That was why Lu Tongjia didn't like him. One set to the front and another set to the back. Thinking of what he had done in the past, her voice became even colder. If you really don't want to give birth, just say so. Why would he lie to us? Lu Tongjia's voice wasn't very loud. Considering that there were servants working in the kitchen and outside, her voice was very soft. However, everyone in the living room could hear her clearly. Old Master Hua's face darkened. Hua Mingguang also looked at Hu Jinyao, his eyes full of disapproval. Sitting there, Su Qingsang felt very uncomfortable being stared at by the elders. She didn't expect that Lu Tongjia would know about it. She already felt a little guilty about old Master Hua, and now she didn't know what to say. Feeling guilty, she was a little stiff and uncomfortable. Hu Jinyao secretly squeezed her palm to reassure her. How could Su Qingsang not be worried? She looked at him again and Hu Jinyao squeezed her palm again. Their actions didn't escape Lu Tongjia's eyes. Seeing this scene, she only felt the anger in her heart grow. Hu Jinyao didn't expect Lu Tongjia to talk about this. Looking at the blame in the eyes of the three elders, he pursed his lips. I don't want to have children. Because I'm not ready to be a father. You're not ready to be a father? Lu Tongjia chuckled. Are you not ready or is she not ready? I'm not ready. Hu Jinyao didn't mind letting Lu Tongjia know. Mom, it's my decision not to have children. You don't have to drag Qingsang into this. Did I drag her into this? Did he think she was blind? Couldn't she see the little action between the two of them just now? I said it was my decision not to have children. Hu Jinyao didn't look good and Lu Tongjia looked even worse. Okay. She nodded and looked at Hu Jinyao's protective face. You said you didn't want children. But what did you tell your grandfather yesterday? Old Master Hua sat there without saying a word. He was old and he didn't know when he would pass away. Back then, his wife looked very healthy, but who knew that she would pass away so suddenly? He thought that his body was healthy. However, old people really didn't know how much time they had left. Hu Jinyao wanted to get married a few years ago. Finally, he got married, so he naturally hoped that he could have children soon. Fortunately, he could see the fourth generation of the Hua family before he closed his eyes. However, he didn't expect Hu Jinyao to do such a thing. Not only did old Master Hua look serious, but Hua Mingguang also looked a little unhappy because of what Hu Jinyao had done. He could say that he didn't want to have children, but he did such a little thing behind his back. Is it because in your hearts, we are the kind of rude and unreasonable parents? Unreasonable? Lu Tongjia said coldly. She was obviously very disappointed with their behavior. You are the younger generation. If you have anything to say, you can talk to the elders. But you? This time, Hu Jinyao didn't say anything, and Su Qingsang also lowered her head and didn't speak. In fact, although Lu Tongjia's tone wasn't very good, what she said was indeed reasonable. Lu Tongjia looked at Su Qingsang's face and changed the topic. You said it has nothing to do with her. Do you think I'm stupid? To put it bluntly, she just doesn't want to have children. Isn't that right? Seeing that Hu Jinyao wanted to say something, she glared at him. Don't always speak for her. She's already an adult. Can't she even speak? Su Qingsang, tell me now. Who on earth doesn't want to have children? Su Qingsang looked at Lu Tongjia and then at old Master Hua. Her face was a little pale. When she saw the disapproval in old Master Hua's eyes, she lowered her head guiltily. Grandpa, I'm sorry. Lu Tongjia looked at old Master Hua. Dad, did you see that? Since things had come to this, what else was there to ask? Isn't it obvious? Old Master Hua didn't speak and Hua Mingguang's face didn't look good either. Hu Jinyao looked at Su Qingsang's face and reached out to hold her hand tightly. Mom, you don't have to do this. Qingsang is still young this year. We really aren't ready. Besides, what's wrong with having children a few years later? I didn't marry Qingsang just to let her have children for me. You're in the right? Lu Tongjia was so angry that she laughed. She's young, but are we young? You really didn't marry her to let her have children for you. So you can lie to us like this, right? This isn't a lie, is it? At best it's a white lie. When we're ready, we'll have children when we want to. Why are you in such a hurry? Yes, we'll have children when we want to. By the time you want to, your father and I might have already. Enough, old Master Hua scolded. Lu Tongjia didn't finish the words she wanted to say. When she met old Master Hua's eyes, she shut up in embarrassment and didn't finish the words. Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao both lowered their heads at this time, looking a little guilty. Old Master Hua looked at his beloved grandson in front of him and then at Su Qingsang, who was satisfied with him. He sighed in his heart. I'm old. What I say doesn't matter anymore. I don't blame you for not respecting me. Grandpa. Su Qingsang was really embarrassed by old Master Hua's words. Not only her but even Hua Jinyao looked anxious. He looked at old Master Hua and wanted to say something but stopped. Do whatever you want. Old Master Hua stood up and glanced at Hua Jinyao. His eyes were full of disappointment. Grandpa. Su Qingsang saw his eyes and suddenly became anxious. She suddenly stood up and wanted to explain to Hua Jinyao. Old Master Hua waved his hand, but he didn't want to listen anymore. You guys go eat. I'll go back to my room. Grandpa. Old Master Hua refused to say anything else. He turned around and went upstairs. The atmosphere in the living room suddenly became cold. Hua Jinyao stood up and wanted to go upstairs to see old Master Hua. Hua Mingguang stopped him. Sit down. Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao sat down. Both of them didn't look good. Especially Su Qingsang. She really blamed herself at this time. Old Master Hua was an extremely open-minded person. If she and Hua Jinyao didn't want to have children, they could have told him directly. It was really not good to be like this. What? Don't what I said work? Hua Mingguang saw that Hua Jinyao was standing still, and his voice became a little deeper. He rarely spoke to Hua Jinyao in such a harsh tone. It was also the first time that Su Qingsang saw her father-in-law get angry. She pulled Hua Jinyao's sleeve and motioned for him to sit down. Hua Mingguang saw that they sat down and wasn't in a hurry to speak. Instead, he called the housekeeper, Uncle Cheng, and asked him to personally bring breakfast upstairs to old Master Hua. Uncle Cheng had been the housekeeper of the Hua family for decades. Old Master Hua would still listen to what he said. Uncle Cheng didn't hear the argument in the living room just now, but it didn't stop him from knowing that the owner was in a bad mood. After agreeing, he left. Hua Mingguang looked at Hua Jinyao. In fact, not only did old Master Hua like this eldest grandson, but he was also satisfied with this son. He would never have said such satisfaction in front of Hua Jinyao after what had happened before. Even after so many years, he sometimes seemed to be a little discouraged by Hua Jinyao on the surface, but in fact, he knew in his heart that this child was outstanding. Chapter 487. I always thought you were sensible. Hua Mingguang's tone wasn't harsh, but he sounded disappointed. The mistake he made when he was young could be said to be because he was young and insensible. But now he was an adult. A 30-year-old person should be able to understand things, right? Hua Jinyao, do you think that no one in this family is worthy of your trust? Do you think that no one in this family is reasonable? Hua Jinyao didn't speak. Hua Mingguang sneered. Your mother is strict with you, but is that the reason you respect us? That. I didn't mean that. Hua Jinyao might have talked back to Lu Tongjia, but he respected his father and grandpa from the bottom of his heart. You didn't? If you didn't, would you fool your grandpa like that? You know that he's wanted you to marry him for so many years, and you know that he's wanted to have a great-grandson for so many years. Is this how you repay him? Hua Jinyao was silent for a few seconds, then said, Dad, I said that I didn't mean that. You know whether you did or didn't. You're old now and you have your own ideas. You don't have to listen to the elders. Hua Jinyao pressed his lips together. Su Qingsang looked at him worriedly. She put her hand on the back of his hand and signaled him to stop talking. I think you've been too busy lately. How about this? Let Yifan take care of the Ike's cooperation case. Hua Jinyao suddenly raised his head and looked at Hua Mingguang. Dad, do you know what you're talking about? Of course I do. Yifan's not bad. I believe he can do it. As for you, you should spend more time with your grandpa. Hua Jinyao clenched his fists by his side. There was a trace of sarcasm in his eyes. Let Yifan take care of the Ike's cooperation case. What next? Are you going to give him my position as the CEO? Hua Jinyao, what kind of attitude is that? Hua Mingguang was angered by his words. Don't forget that the Hua family doesn't belong to you alone. It doesn't even belong to me alone. I'm the chairman now. I have the right to arrange your work. Hua Mingguang was nothing more than the eldest son of the family. Therefore, it was only natural that Tianyu Group would be handed over to him after old Master Hua. However, Tianyu Group didn't belong to Hua Mingguang alone. It was founded by old Master Hua. As old master Hua's other child, Hua Mingliang was also a part of it. Su Qingsang didn't expect so many things to happen just because they didn't want to have a child so soon. She was also stunned for a moment. She turned to look at Hua Jingyao with obvious worry in her eyes. But now that Hua Mingguang and Lu Tongjiao were here, she didn't even know what to say to comfort him. Hua Jingyao stood up. His back was straight. He looked at Lu Tongjia and Hua Mingguang. Finally he turned to look at Lu Tongjia. "Mom, this is what you want, right?" He asked Hua Yifan to share his workload. This was the first step. What was next? Weaken his authority in Chanyu Group? Slowly hand over Chanyu Group to Hua Yifan? Hua Jinyao. What kind of attitude is that? Lu Tongjia was angered by his words. You lied to your elders and played us around. You're still in the right, aren't you? Qingsang and I just don't want to have children at this stage, but it doesn't mean that we won't have children in the future. Mom, you really don't have to overreact. Is this a matter of whether you have children or not? This is a matter of the two of you not lying to your elders and trying to fool us. Lu Tongjia glared at Hua Jinyao. I never care about the company's affairs. This is Dad's decision. I think it's a good decision now. You've been acting more and more out of control recently. I think it's time for you to calm down and sober up. Even if your grandfather was here, I believe he would agree. Hua Jinyao clenched his fists so tightly that blue veins popped out on the back of his hands. Looking at the stern look on Lu Tongjia's face, he suddenly smiled. The Ike's cooperation case, right? No problem. I'll go to the company the day after tomorrow and hand it over to Hua Yifan. But Dad, tell me what else you want to give him. It's better to make it clear at once. It'll be too troublesome to hand it over right and left. Hua Mingguang wasn't very angry at first. But now he was a little angry because of Hua Jinyao's words. Hua Jinyao, do you think I want to take away your power? Do you think I want to drive you away from Tianyu? Let me tell you, I really just want you to spend more time with your grandfather. If you keep doing this, I really don't mind letting you have more free time. Hua Mingguang never thought that one day he would fight with his son like this. He didn't expect that Hua Jinyao would think of him like this. This realization made him so angry that his whole body began to tremble. You hurt your grandfather's heart like this. Don't you want to spend more time with him? No one forced Su Qingsang to have children. The men of the Hua family married late. But no one urged Hua Jinyao to get married. He chose to get married and he agreed to have children. Therefore he couldn't blame his elders for being angry now that he was pretending to be obedient. Hua Jinyao's body stood there motionless, looking a little stiff. Su Qingsang didn't expect things to develop to this point. She gently touched Hua Jinyao's hand and turned to face Hua Mingguang. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm the one who started all this. I didn't want to have children. Jinyao just, enough. Lu Tongjia was annoyed to see Su Qingsang. Stop talking. Don't I know that you caused this? I don't know what you did to coax Jinyao into marrying you. Now you coaxed him to the point that he doesn't even want to have children. Su Qingsang, you're really well educated. She admitted that Su Qingsang didn't handle this matter well, but she didn't understand what Lu Tongjia was talking about. Just as she was about to ask Lu Tongjia what she meant, Hua Jinyao pulled her over. Mom, you don't have to say it. Qingsang doesn't need to coax me. I didn't want children. Okay. I really didn't know that our Hua family had a lover. Lu Tongjia was furious. She stood up and said, since you have so many ideas, then you two can go live your own lives. We elders don't care about you anymore. Lu Tongjia was really angry this time. It was completely different from the past when she was just unhappy and said a few words. She got up and left. Hua Mingguang didn't stay and stood up as well. Before leaving, he gave Hua Jinyao a cold look, with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. Suddenly, only Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao were left in the living room. Su Qingsang didn't expect things to turn out like this. She turned to look at Hua Jinyao with worry in her eyes. Jinyao, look, it's okay. Hua Jinyao didn't expect the elders to have such a big reaction. He patted Su Qingsang on the shoulder and said, don't worry. It's really okay. I'll explain it to Grandpa later. Old Master Hua wasn't an unreasonable person. It was always okay to explain it to him. Su Qingsang bit her lip, feeling that it wouldn't be so easy to get over it. Hua Jinyao raised his hand and gently flicked her forehead. That's enough. Leave it to me. You don't have to worry about it. Hua Jinyao, should I tell Grandpa myself? You tell him yourself? Do you want to have a baby now? Su Qingsang blinked her eyes and finally shook her head firmly. Then it's settled. Don't worry. Leave it to me. I'll take care of it. Su Qingsang didn't mention it again after he said that. Hua Jingyao and Su Qingsang were the only ones eating breakfast that day. It was a lot quieter. After breakfast, Hua Jingyao went upstairs to talk to Old Master Hua. Su Qingsang didn't know what he said, but Old Master Hua went downstairs for lunch. Although he didn't look very good, at least he didn't look as bad as he did in the morning. Su Qingsang wanted to say something to Old Master Hua several times, but in the end she didn't. The atmosphere in the Hua family was still a bit depressing that weekend. Su Qingsang thought about it for a day and decided to let it go. Some things would take their natural course. As for the baby, she would wait until she was ready to have another one. On one side of Hua Jinyao's office stood a small team of people who worked with him. They were the employees in charge of Ike's this time. On the other side stood Hua Yifan. He looked at Hua Jinyao, who was sitting behind the desk. His face was calm, but deep in his eyes, there was a trace of excitement and joy. Brother. Hua Yifan didn't call him president but brother. He did that on purpose today. I heard from uncle that you are going to hand over the Ike's case to me? Yes. Hua Jinyao saw the smug look in Hua Yifan's eyes, but he didn't argue with him. He turned to look at the people standing on the other side. These are the people in charge this time. They have prepared the documents and information. I will leave the rest to you. If you are not used to these people, you can change them to someone you want. Brother, you are too kind. Hua Yifan smiled. The people you trained are naturally good. I'm very relieved. Hua Jinyao didn't say anything. He gave the project manager a look. He nodded and turned to Hua Yifan. Vice President Hua, let's talk in your office. Okay. Hua Yifan nodded. When he turned to look at Hua Jinyao, the smile on his face faded a little. Brother, I will leave now. I will talk to you if there is anything else. Since Dad said to leave it to you, you can be in charge. You don't have to talk to me anymore. Okay. I know what to do. After saying that, Hua Yifan left Hua Jinyao's office with the group of people. As soon as they left, Yang Wenchang came in immediately. He looked at Hua Jinyao with some worry in his eyes. President Hua, Hua Jinyao had said a long time ago that he would follow up with Ike's and it was about to be settled. Chapter 488. It's okay. Hua Jinyao waved his hand. It's just an Ike's case. I've already made the first 80 steps. He'd be an idiot if he couldn't get it done. Hua Mingguang just wanted to give him a blow. He didn't really want to deny his job. If that was the case, he wouldn't be able to be the president anymore. Yang Wenchang understood and thought of something else. President Hua, do you remember Xinglua Department Store and Kasong Electronics in Lin City? Yes. Because they had attacked Xiang Kaiping, he had dealt with the two companies. The people there said that the original owners of those two companies have been in a big fight recently. That's a small matter. Ask Zhang Yang to handle it. Yes. Yang Wenchang had the same idea. There's one more thing. What? Your father-in-law. Yang Wenchang paused. What about him? Hua Jinyao only knew that Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue had divorced. He hadn't paid attention to what happened after that. You know, we had a lot of cooperation with the Li Group because of your relationship with the president's wife. Vice President Su was in charge of those things. But now, for some reason, she's been replaced. I just want to ask what happened after that? Yang Wenchang had been called back by Hua Jinyao to deal with something. In addition, he had been running errands for Xiang Kaiping, so he didn't know that Su Qingsang was Li Qianxue's daughter. Su Qingsang was the illegitimate daughter of the Su family and didn't have a good relationship with Li Qianxue. Su Qinghui didn't want it anymore. Does that mean that we can change some of the terms of our cooperation in the future? No need. We'll stick to the previous agreement. Thinking of this, Hua Jinyao remembered that he forgot to tell Yang Wenchang about Su Qingsang. He briefly told him about Su Qingsang. Looking at Yang Wenchang's shocked face, Hua Jinyao thought of Li Qianxue's reaction after she recognized Su Qingsang. Remember, we'll be working with the Li Group for a long time. Therefore, the cooperation with the Li Corporation should be based on the original terms. Cooperation was a win-win situation. It would be best if everyone could be happy. Yes, I got it. Hearing this, Yang Wenchang understood. Looking at Hua Jinyao's attitude, he knew how to treat Li Qianxue and the Li Group in the future. Su Qingsang had lunch with Li Ting at noon. She had helped Li Ting on duty twice last time. Li Ting had offered to help her, but Su Qingsang didn't think it was necessary. Li Ting was embarrassed and offered to treat her to a meal. Su Qingsang was not pretentious. She was here to build a good relationship with her colleagues. After eating with Li Ting, she wanted to take a walk to digest the food. Li Ting received a call from her boyfriend halfway. She and her boyfriend were still in a relationship and they would call each other every morning, noon, and night. Su Qingsang saw the sweetness on her face, and there was a hint of envy in her eyes. She married Hu Jiniao directly, skipping the so-called passionate love period. When she was separated from Hu Jiniao, the two of them would talk and video chat every night, but they had never called each other 3 times a day like Li Ting did. Did she like Hu Jiniao? There was no doubt that he liked it. There was no doubt about that. Did she love him? She also loved him, but she always felt that this love was lacking something. But she didn't know what it was. She thought that it didn't matter. She and Hu Jiniao were already husband and wife, and they would spend the rest of their lives together. She would slowly give more of her heart to him and slowly make herself love him more and more. She thought that it wasn't difficult. As long as she and Hu Jiniao stayed like this, one day she would love him so much that she couldn't stop. It was good that things were like this now. Li Ting answered the phone and then walked slowly. Su Qingsang was too embarrassed to stop and listen to the sweet words of the young couple, so she deliberately sped up. However, when she returned to the hospital, everyone had gone for lunch and hadn't come back yet. The emergency room downstairs received another patient. It was a pregnant woman who had fainted, and her condition was unknown. Su Qingsang went down to the emergency room with 2 nurses. Before she reached the bed, she saw Zhang Yichen standing next to it with his back straight. "Hey, it's you." Su Qingsang was a little surprised to see him. Her eyes fell on the pregnant woman on the bed, who had a slightly bulging belly. Dr. Huang from the emergency room saw her coming down, so he pointed at the pregnant woman on the bed and explained the situation. The pregnant woman has fainted. She is about 20 weeks pregnant. It seems that she has PIH. But the pregnant woman is injured. We'll have to wait for the obstetrics and gynecology department to find out more about her condition. Okay, I got it. Su Qingsang nodded and signaled the nurse who followed her to push the pregnant woman upstairs for the examination. She turned around and found Zhang Yichen still standing there. She stopped for a second. She glanced at Zhang Yichen with a hint of a joke. "Did someone blackmail you again? Twice in a row. He was too lucky, wasn't he?" No. Zhang Yichen didn't look as relaxed as Su Qingsang. "I was driving on Haud Road when I saw her being beaten. I got out of the car to stop it and she fainted." Zhang Yichen didn't mention how he taught the man who hit the pregnant woman a lesson and how the man ran away while cursing. "I see." Su Qingsang remembered that Dr. Huang had said that the pregnant woman was injured. "Okay, I got it. You can go back now. We'll take care of the rest." "Are you going to tell her husband to come?" Su Qingsang nodded. "If not her husband, who?" "It seems that the man who hit her is her husband." Zhang Yichen didn't mind telling her the situation. In fact, he heard it when he got out of the car. The man saw him and tried to stop him but said, "I hit my wife. It's none of your business." Su Qingsang's expression became more serious. Okay, I got it. How about this? If there are injuries and it's confirmed that her husband hit her, we'll help her call the Women's Rescue Center. Or if she needs help, we can help her call the police. Okay. Su Qingsang looked at Zhang Yichen's face, which obviously didn't relax. "Are you from Rong City?" "No. What's wrong?" "I want to say that if you are from Rong City, they should give you a Good Samaritan Award." Su Qingsang thought that he should be given a Good Samaritan Award. She had met him 3 times and he had done a good deed twice. Who else should they give the award to if not him? Zhang Yichen paused for a second. His usually stern face looked a little uneasy, which was rare for him. "No need. It's my duty." He was a soldier of the people, so it was his duty to do these things. However, Su Qingsang misunderstood him. She had always thought that he was a policeman. He was a policeman, so it was his duty to do good deeds. "Okay. I'll go check her. Help yourself." "Okay. Thank you." "Not at all. It's my duty." Su Qingsang told him what he had just said. Zhang Yichen was stunned for a second. Looking at Su Qingsang's back, a faint smile appeared on his face again. Su Peijian looked at the office in front of her, dissatisfied. This office was much smaller than her one in the Li group. She thought about Xiang Caiping's villa and this office. She really thought that Xiang Caiping was stingy. Speaking of which, she had been with Xiang Caiping for nearly half a month. Finally, Xiang Caiping let her manage the 2 supermarket chains under her name. Su Peijian thought so, but she didn't know that Xiang Caiping let her rest for a while before bringing her here because she didn't want her to be too tired. Previously, Xiang Caiping thought that she was old and wanted to go to Lin City to find her daughter. The 2 supermarkets were managed by professional managers, and she was only responsible for collecting dividends. Now that her daughter was back, she didn't want Su Peijian to work for someone else. Naturally, she had to take over. She had been working for a long time. Last week, Xiang Kaiping brought her here and introduced her to some of the old employees who had worked hard with Xiang Kaiping. Later, Xiang Kaiping asked those employees to take care of Su Peijian. All of Xiang Kaiping's kindness was unnecessary in Su Peijian's eyes. Why did she need those old employees to take care of her? They should take care of themselves first. She was the boss. Since when did those people get to take care of her? Thinking of this, Su Peijian began to feel that Xiang Kaiping was stingy again. She still remembered how Li Qianxue was so powerful in the company. No one in the entire company dared to look down on her. Xiang Kaiping, on the other hand, was obviously the boss, but she lowered her status and asked the employees to take care of her. Su Peijian flipped through the documents in front of her, feeling bored. These things were too easy for her. Moreover, there were already professionals who had done the important things. However, she was willing to admit that Xiang Kaiping had a certain level of economic acumen. Most of the goods in her supermarkets were negotiated with the factories one by one, skipping the distributors. Therefore, the prices were more advantageous than ordinary supermarkets. This was also the key reason why the two supermarkets of hers had always been doing well. For example, the documents she was reading now were negotiated by Xiang Kaiping herself. They were only supplied to their supermarkets. When she saw a number on the report, Su Peijian was stunned. Then she called the manager of the purchasing department over. "What's with this prosperity?" She pointed at the number and glanced at the person in front of her coldly. The manager's surname was Wang and he didn't look young. He was in his 40s and had been working for Xiang Kaiping before. He called Xiang Kaiping's sister Xiang. After Xiang Kaiping brought Su Peijian here, they didn't look down on her. After all, they were all grateful to Xiang Kaiping. At this moment, Manager Wang's gaze fell on the number on the report, and his expression was a little strange. Chapter 489. Su Peijian had worked for the Li Group for 3 years. She had been carefully trained by Su Qinghui before she went to college. Not to mention anything else, she was quite sharp when it came to numbers. It was a piece of cake for her to come up with a report like this. After all, compared to the Li Group, the two supermarket chains were nothing. Mr. Su. Manager Wang had been working for Xiang Kaiping and was very close to her. Now that he saw Su Peijian, he didn't look down on her. The boss of Xingxing is he. He set the price last month. He said the price of raw materials increased. Xingxing produced office supplies, and all the paper-related products had increased the price this time. What kind of raw materials can increase the price by 10%? Are you blind? He didn't just mention paper-related products. He also mentioned other products that had nothing to do with paper. How dare you give me such data? What? Did he think she was easy to fool because she was new? Mr. Su, it's not our fault. We've already talked to Sister Xiang, but she said she's been working with him for a long time, so that's enough. Su Peijian didn't have the patience to listen to these things. Anyway, she was bored and had nothing to do, so she might as well settle this. Help me make an appointment with Mr. He. I want to see him tonight. He might not have the time. Okay. He doesn't have the time, does he? He doesn't care about the sales of our two supermarkets, does he? Then don't work with him anymore. I'll tell the other circles in Rong City about what they've done. We'll see who's going to lose face. Hearing Su Peijian's words, Manager Wang didn't insist anymore. He turned around and went to contact the boss of Xingxing for her. He told her that the boss was free that night and asked her to meet him at Xiangshan Restaurant. After entering Xiangshan Restaurant, Su Peijian looked much better than before. Xiangshan Restaurant was almost as good as Chaowen Courtyard in Lin City. He followed Manager Wang upstairs. It didn't take long before He Xingxian arrived. The boss of Xingxing was called He Xingxian. He was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He was slightly plump and looked friendly when he smiled. However, his small eyes were shrewd. Su Peijian had interacted with many people in Lin City. She didn't care about such a man. When they met, Manager Wang introduced them to each other. They chatted for a while before sitting down. Su Peijian went straight to the point. She was not in the mood to talk to a man who was nothing to her. Boss I'm a very straightforward person. If I have something to say, I'll just say it. I'm not very satisfied with your company's offer this time. After all, we've been working with Mr. He for a long time. Boss, he doesn't seem to be very kind right now. It's hard to do business now. The price of raw materials has risen, and it's changing every day. There's nothing we can do. Of course, He Xingxian wouldn't give in. Su Peijian's brows furrowed. She was obviously dissatisfied with the situation in front of her. However, no matter how dissatisfied she was, she wouldn't show it on her face. She kept a smile on her face and continued to socialize with He Xingxian. Speaking of which, this was another point that she could not accept. Previously in Lin City, which company did not rush to cooperate with the Li Corporation? When had she ever humbled herself like this? However, He Xingxian looked easy to talk to, but he was actually very shrewd. After talking for a long time without any results, Su Pei really wanted to lose her temper. The waiter began to serve the dishes, and the door of the private room opened. 2 waiters walked in. It was also at this time that Su Peijian saw a flash of a figure outside. She saw it and so did He Xingxian. He stood up abruptly. "Excuse me." He ignored Su Peijian and walked straight out of the private room. Manager Wang had been sitting at the side like a decoration and hadn't said much. However, in the blink of an eye he also saw the person outside. He looked very familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him before. President Hua? He Xingxian never expected to meet Hu Jiniao here. When he saw him just now he ran out very eagerly. President Hua? Hu Jiniao stopped and looked at the man in front of him. He couldn't remember who he was for a moment. You are? President Hua. People of high status have short memories. You don't know me. I'm He Xingxian from Xingxing Office Supplies. I've discussed cooperation with your company before. Tianyu Group had tens of thousands of employees and dozens of branch companies. If they could get the supply of office supplies from Tianyu Group, not to mention the profits, Xingxing would definitely rise to a higher level in Rong City. President Hua, this is my business card. I've contacted Manager Zhang of your company before, but then keep in touch with him. Hu Jiniao didn't need to worry about small things like purchasing office supplies. Of course I wouldn't dare to trouble you, President Hua. He Xingxian smiled flatteringly. But President Hua, when Manager Zhang mentions it, can you seriously consider it? I can guarantee that our company's products are absolutely high quality, and the prices are absolutely reasonable. Alright, I understand. Hu Jiniao had an appointment with someone today, so he really didn't have time to talk to He Xingxian here. Okay. Go do what you need to do. He Xingxian very sensibly stood aside, and the smile on his face became even brighter. He didn't return to the private room until Hu Jiniao's figure disappeared in the private room at the other end of the corridor. Although Hu Jiniao didn't give him a definite answer, being able to see Hu Jiniao today was enough to make He Xingxian happy. So when he faced Su Peijian again, the smile on his face became more sincere. Mr. He. Su Peijian of course knew Hu Jiniao, but she still wanted to clarify. Who was that person just now? Is he your friend? Why don't you invite him in for dinner? He Xingxian looked at Su Peijian as if she was an idiot. President Su, you can tell that he is a newcomer, right? What? Why do you say that, Mr. He? Do you know who that person is? You said that you want to invite him to dinner? Let me tell you, even if the mayor of Rong City wants to invite him to dinner, he has to see if he's in a good mood. Would you do me the honor? Really? Su Peijian pretended to be surprised and her eyes widened. That good? Of course. He is the president of Tianyu Group. I have never had the chance to meet him in person. If it weren't for a distant cousin of mine who works in Tianyu Group and found a way to help me get in touch with a department manager, I wouldn't even be able to enter Tianyu Group. Seeing that Su Peijian wanted to listen, He Xingxian didn't mind clarifying to her. That person just now is the president of Tianyu Group, Hu Jiniao. He is the eldest grandson of the Hua family, the most powerful family in Rong City. He has always been low-key and rarely appears in public. If I didn't have the chance to meet him before, I wouldn't have met him. So, Mr. He, you are really amazing. Su Peijian's smile was even brighter than before, but there was a hint of calculation in her eyes. I really didn't know that Mr. He had such connections. Next time I really need to learn more from Mr. He. Being praised by a beauty like Su Peijian, He Xingxian suddenly felt a little smug. Previously, because of Xiang Kaiping, he agreed to sell some products to them at a low price. Later, when Xiang Kaiping quit, he regretted it. That was why he wanted to take this opportunity to raise the price. He didn't expect Su Peijian to be so tactful. Mr. He, let me propose a toast to you. As Su Peijian spoke, He Xingxian poured a glass of wine. As the other party drank, He Xingxian spoke without a trace. Mr. He, are you familiar with this President Hua? I'm not familiar with him. He Xingxian didn't dare to use Hu Jiniao's name outside. The Hua family wasn't something he could afford to offend. But who in Rong City doesn't know about Tianyu Group? Even in the whole country there are very few people who don't know about it. Only people like you don't know about it. That's true. How can our knowledge compare to Mr. He's? Su Peijian poured another glass of wine for He Xingxian. Why don't you tell me about it, Mr. He? Let me tell you, this Tianyu Group, it's very powerful. He Xingxian wasn't bragging. However, what he knew about Tianyu Group was superficial. Su Peijian already knew what he was talking about when she was in Lin City. However, she was still listening attentively. As she listened, she nodded in admiration. When He Xingxian finished, she looked at him casually. Mr. He, the next time you meet President Hua, can you bring me along? You see, I don't want anything else. I just want to see President Hua's elegance. He Xingxian didn't dare to answer. He wasn't familiar with Hua Jinyao at all. It was only after many twists and turns and a stroke of luck that they managed to meet. We'll see. President Hua is very busy. How can he have time to see you? He Xingxian deliberately belittled Su Peijian. He wouldn't admit that he couldn't get an appointment with Hua Jinyao at all. Su Peijian's expression was very ugly, but she forced herself to calm down. Yes, we are small people. Naturally, we can't meet the big president. But isn't there Mr. He? When the time comes, we can bask in your glory. This flattery made He Xingxian feel very comfortable. He drank another 2 glasses of wine. He waved his hand. What's wrong with that? I'll let you know the next time I go to Tianyu Group. Then I'll thank you in advance, Mr. He. Su Peijian poured him another glass of wine and got down to business. Look, Mr. He, you're such a straightforward person. You don't have to change the price we agreed on with my mother, right? Okay, let's do it the original way. He Xingxian looked at Su Peijian, a great beauty, and his eyes lit up. If it weren't for Manager Wang sitting next to him, he would have reached out to take advantage of her. Su Peijian was disgusted, but she didn't show it on her face. So what if it was Tianyu Group? So what if it was Hua Jinyao? Now that I'm here, some things are different. He Xingxian, who was drunk and blurry, didn't see the scheming look in Su Peijian's eyes. Su Peijian's eyes were filled with a cold smile. Chapter 490. When Hua Jinyao got up in the morning, Su Qingsang turned over in bed. He pulled the quilt up to cover his body. Hua Jinyao watched her wrap herself up like a dumpling. He reached out and pressed her shoulder. You're not getting up? I'm not getting up. Su Qingsang sounded sleepy. She was on the night shift last night and it was already late when she came back. It just so happened that Hua Jinyao had a business meeting yesterday and came back around the same time as her. He had always been very restrained when socializing outside, but it was inevitable that he would drink a little. Under the influence of alcohol, the two of them fooled around for a while. Su Qingsang didn't have to go to work today, so she didn't want to get up so early. Hua Jinyao looked at Su Qingsang, who was wrapped in the quilt, and suddenly felt his heart soften. He leaned over and kissed her on the forehead. Then sleep a little longer. Remember to get up for dinner later. Skipping breakfast is not good for your health. Okay, Su Qingsang answered and closed her eyes again. But as soon as she closed her eyes, she opened them again. Hua Jinyao. Huh? I'm not going to work today. How about I go see Grandpa? Although old Master Hua wasn't angry about what Lu Tongjia had done last week, Su Qingsang could tell that he was probably unhappy. Su Qingsang knew that old Master Hua was not angry anymore, but she still wanted to explain to him. Hua Jinyao sat by the bed and looked at her. He raised his hand and gently stroked her cheek. Her skin was really good, delicate and smooth. Hua Jinyao. Su Qingsang turned her face to the side to avoid his hand. Let me ask you, should I pick out a gift for Grandpa? What do you think we should give her? With old Master Hua's status, he naturally didn't lack anything. However, Su Qingsang wanted to make the old man happy. Of course, she wanted him to like the gift. Hua Jinyao could see through her at a glance. It's okay. Grandpa is really not angry. In fact, he was also one of the people who didn't want to have children. He hadn't thought about becoming a father at such a young age. Lu Tongjia thought too highly of him by saying that Su Qingsang had instigated it. Was he the kind of person who would listen to a woman's encouragement? He also said the same thing to old Master Hua. Although old Master Hua was unhappy, he didn't mention it again after hearing the reason. Therefore, Su Qingsang really didn't need to think about these things anymore. Don't think too much, I'm going to work. Hua Jinyao kissed her again and left for work. He said so, but Su Qingsang couldn't just let it go. She had seen old Master Hua's attitude toward her since she came to Rong City. Since Hua Jinyao didn't want to tell her, she would think about what to give him. Su Qingsang rarely picked out gifts for her elders. In the past, he had only given gifts to Su Qinghui and Li Qianxue out of respect. After they met, Li Qianxue couldn't wait to give her the best. Even Xiang Kaiping didn't know what to give old Master Li at the moment. Su Qingsang felt a little conflicted. After leaving the department store, he unknowingly walked to a small road behind the department store. When she came back to her senses and wanted to retreat, she seemed to hear something in the alley beside her. Su Qingsang knew that curiosity killed the cat, so she quickened her steps and was about to walk outside. She didn't expect that the people in the alley would come out at this time. There were two men, one with a crew cut. The moment he saw Su Qingsang, his eyes turned cold. His sharp eyes startled Su Qingsang. She instinctively took a big step back. However, when she saw the man behind the bald man, she resisted the urge to run away. The good young man who did what was right? Zhang Yichen was also surprised to see Su Qingsang. He didn't understand why she was here. He glanced at the man with the crew cut and signaled him to go first. The man looked at Zhang Yichen and said, "She heard it." "I didn't hear it." Su Qingsang hurriedly raised 3 fingers and said, "I just got here. I didn't hear anything." Trying to cover up something only made it more obvious, but Su Qingsang really didn't hear anything. The man with the crew cut became even more worried and took a step forward. Zhang Yichen patted him on the shoulder and said, "Go ahead." She really didn't hear it. The man with the crew cut obviously didn't agree with Zhang Yichen's words, but he didn't think too much about it. He glanced at Su Qingsang one last time. His eyes were full of warning, which made Su Qingsang's body tremble a little. Then he turned around and left. Su Qingsang patted her chest. When she saw Zhang Yichen's face, she trembled again. She pressed her body against the wall behind her. It was still early February and the temperature was very low. Su Qingsang felt sweat on her back. She thought of the few times she had seen Zhang Yichen before and he had been nice to her, but that was because he did good things. However, there was no rule in this world that said good people wouldn't do bad things. Looking at Su Qingsang's scared face, Zhang Yichen took 2 steps forward and stood in front of Su Qingsang. It wasn't the weekend and the weather was still cold. There weren't many people in this alley. Su Qingsang swallowed. When Zhang Yichen stood in front of her, she cleared her throat. "Well, I really didn't hear what you said. It was a beautiful misunderstanding." Su Qingsang wanted to explain more, but Zhang Yichen raised his hand. Su Qingsang was startled. She closed her eyes at once. Then she realized that something was wrong. She quickly opened her eyes. Zhang Yichen's hand was placed on the wall beside her. "You didn't hear me?" Zhang Yichen believed that Su Qingsang didn't hear him. His ears were very sharp. Su Qingsang's footsteps didn't escape his ears. He didn't say anything after hearing someone approaching. So Su Qingsang couldn't have heard anything. However, looking at the woman in front of him, who was no longer calm and composed like she was in the hospital, he had that thought again. The woman in front of him was quite interesting. So, Qingsang? Su Qingsang had her name tag in the hospital, so it was normal for him to know her name. However, this made Su Qingsang even more scared. "Sir, I really didn't hear what you said." She tried to calm herself down. She knew that some perverts would get more excited when they saw others scared. "Can I trouble you to move aside for a moment?" Zhang Yichen didn't move. He stared at Su Qingsang's face and suddenly lowered his head. Su Qingsang became more and more nervous. Zhang Yichen's face was getting bigger and bigger in front of her. She couldn't help but raise her hand to slap him. However, her hand was caught in midair. Zhang Yichen not only grabbed her hand easily, but also successfully made it so that she couldn't break free. "You..." Zhang Yichen moved closer to her face again. Su Qingsang was startled. Seeing his face getting bigger and bigger in front of her, she wanted to raise her other hand. However, unfortunately she was caught by him again. "Let go of me." With both of her wrists in his hands, Su Qingsang was at a complete disadvantage. Looking at her surroundings, she really regretted going out alone today. Her phone rang. It was Hu Jinyao. She wanted to answer the phone, but the man was still holding her hand. She tried a few more times, but she couldn't break free no matter how hard she tried. Anger rose in her heart. Su Qingsang's voice became colder. "Sir, you'd better let go of me. I'm not someone you can afford to offend." Tianyu Group was quite powerful in Rong City, wasn't it? If this man really dared to do anything, she believed that Hu Jinyao wouldn't go easy on him. Really? Zhang Yichen was about to let go. He just wanted to scare the woman. However, her words made him tighten his grip on her hand that he was about to retract. "You're not someone I can afford to offend. Do you know what kind of person I am?" Su Qingsang clenched her teeth. She had a good impression of this man because he had helped her twice in a row, but now there was nothing left. "Anyway, you're not a good person." "Yes. Yes, you also said that I'm not a good person." "Since I'm not a good person." Su Qingsang's face turned pale. Yes, ordinary people couldn't afford to offend Tianyu Group. Yes, ordinary people couldn't afford to offend Tianyu Group. That was for companies and ordinary people. However, if the man was a criminal or a bad person, he wouldn't be afraid of her at all. Su Qingsang calculated in her mind. She wanted to pull her hand out, but she found that the man was using his strength very skillfully. She couldn't feel any pain, but she couldn't break free. Su Qingsang's phone stopped ringing. She calmed down. "Sir, what do you think about this?" "Go ahead. You guys are doing this kind of business." Su Qingsang thought for a while and then thought of the word business. Her voice became softer. "It's for money. Let go of me first. You can make any conditions you want. Isn't this easier than doing anything to me directly? How do I know that you won't call the police after you agree to my conditions?" Su Qingsang clenched her teeth. "I'm in your hands now. How can I call the police?" "That's not necessarily true." Zhang Yichen stared at her face. "For example, you said you were going to transfer money to me, but when you arrived at the bank, you called the police? What do you want then?" Su Qingsang was angry. "Do you want to kill me?" "I don't think so." Zhang Yichen looked at Su Qingsang with a mischievous look in his eyes. Su Qingsang had a bad feeling. The next second, the man moved his face closer to hers. Su Qingsang was scared. She thought that he was going to do something to her. However, he only stopped his face about 5 centimeters away from hers. He stared at her face, his eyes slightly dim. "Woman, curiosity killed the cat. Don't be so curious next time." Su Qingsang didn't dare to move. Looking at the face so close to hers, she had the urge to slap him. Zhang Yichen stared at Su Qingsang's red lips. For a moment he really wanted to kiss her. However, he didn't like to molest women. He took a step back and let go of her hand. Chapter 491. Under Su Qingsang's guarded gaze, Zhang Yichen slightly curled up the corners of his mouth. There was a hint of playfulness in his eyes. Then he took a big step back. But he didn't leave in a hurry. Su Qingsang also knew that she was no match for him. Her body was pressed against the wall and her hair was a bit messy. Zhang Yichen subconsciously raised his hand, wanting to fix her hair, but when he saw the guarded look on her face, he subtly withdrew his hand. He gave Su Qingsang a deep look, then turned around and left. Su Qingsang kept looking at the man, afraid that he would come back to his senses and try to hurt her. But now she could see it. The man probably knew that she didn't hear anything and he was just trying to scare her. Fortunately, the man didn't really do anything to her or she would have died. The cell phone rang again. Su Qingsang's breath was still a bit unstable when she picked it up. "Qingsang? What's wrong?" It was Shi Mingwan on the other end of the line. "I'm fine." Su Qingsang shook her head. After making sure that the man wouldn't come back, she turned around and walked out. "You sound a bit out of breath. Are you really okay?" "No, I just ran into a dog and was scared." Shi Mingwan didn't ask further. She actually wanted to talk to Su Qingsang about something. But when the call was connected, she didn't know what to say. "Oh, you rarely call me when I'm at work." "What's wrong?" "What's wrong?" Qingsang. Thinking of Zhan Haoze, Shi Mingwan was a bit confused. "Nothing, I might want to come to Rong City to hang out with you. I want to ask if you welcome me." "Of course you're welcome." Su Qingsang couldn't be happier. "Okay, I'll see if I'm free in the next few days. I'll arrange the time." "Okay." Su Qingsang didn't think much of it. "You're free to work anyway. Call me when you're coming and I'll pick you up then." "Okay." Shi Mingwan said a few more words, but didn't tell Su Qingsang what was on her mind. Never mind, she'd talk about it when they met. Throwing the phone aside, Shi Mingwan only felt that her mood didn't improve because of the phone call. Instead, she felt even more confused. What had gotten into her head yesterday? Why did she end up with Zhan Haoze? He clearly refused to admit that he was her dear brother. He clearly had a fiancé. Shi Mingwan, do you want to be a mistress? Since she couldn't think of anything, Shi Mingwan simply stopped thinking about it. The chances of encountering Zhan Haoze recently seemed to be a little high. That was not a good thing. She thought that she needed to go to Rong City to find Su Qingsang. First, she needed to avoid him, and second, she needed to calm down. Zhan Haoze's figure flashed across her mind. Shi Mingwan's heart wasn't just filled with the sweetness of those memories. There was even more bitterness. Her big brother would probably never come back. Su Qingsang looked at the Land Rover parked in front of her and blinked. He turned to look at the person in the driver's seat suspiciously. When she saw that it was Hua Jinyao, she reached out to open the car door. "Didn't you drive this car this morning?" Hua Jinyao wasn't a person who paid much attention to enjoyment. There were many cars in the garage, but she often saw him driving a Bentley or a Mercedes. There were also sports cars, but Hua Jinyao rarely drove them to the company. This Land Rover was obviously not Huijinyao's favorite type. Yes, uncles. You went to work. I'll drive it back to the mansion for him. He'll come for dinner tonight and I can drive the car back then. Uncle? Su Qingsang thought of the youngest son of the great-aunt Hui Yangxiu, whom Huijinyao had mentioned when he introduced his family to her. You're not talking about that great-aunt's son, are you? Yes. He's back. He went to his company to look for him at noon, then left in a hurry after receiving a call. He left his car at his company. He asked him to drive it back to the old mansion for him. As he spoke, his eyes fell on Su Qingsang's hand. What is this? Su Qingsang was holding a bird cage in her hand, which was covered with a cloth. It was very quiet inside. Parrot. Huijinyao looked at her, then at the bird cage. Don't tell me that you're going to give this to Grandpa. Can't I? Su Qingsang looked at him with excitement. I walked in the department store all day today, but I didn't see anything to give to Grandpa. Later, I passed by the flower and bird market and I thought it would be good to give him a parrot. This is the best one in the shop owner's shop. Can talk a lot. It's very smart. I've tried it and it can talk to people. You see, you're often away from home. Isn't it good to give it to Grandpa? Huijinyao suddenly laughed. He reached out and rubbed Su Qingsang's hair. His eyes were full of love as he looked at her. Honey, you're so cute. Su Qingsang's hair was messed up by him. She glared at him and said, just tell me if Grandpa will like it. Yes. He'll definitely like it. After Huijinyao said that, he laughed again. Su Qingsang had no idea why he was laughing. Huijinyao stopped laughing. If you don't think Grandpa will like it, I'll quit. This bird was not cheap. It cost her tens of thousands of yuan. Huijinyao stopped laughing. He reached out and put his arm around Su Qingsang's shoulder. He leaned over and kissed her on the lips. Honey, you're so cute. She didn't plan to have a child so early, so she bought a bird for old Master Hua? Huijinyao. Su Qingsang had a feeling that he was laughing at her. Stop joking. Just tell me, does Grandpa not like it? I said he will definitely like it. Huijinyao stopped laughing. He really couldn't tell that Su Qingsang was so talented. Holding back his laughter, he cleared his throat and said, Honey, I suddenly realized that I'm really lucky. Su Qingsang looked at him suspiciously. She instinctively felt that he was being sarcastic. The car stopped at the Hua family's old house. Su Qingsang walked in with the bird cage. When she entered the door, she was a little nervous and couldn't help but look at Huijinyao again. Huijinyao put his arm around her shoulder and said, Don't worry. Grandpa will definitely like it. Su Qingsang was quite happy when she bought the parrot. But after Huijinyao's joke, she began to feel nervous. Old Master Hua was sitting on the sofa, reading the newspaper with his reading glasses on. Seeing them coming, he waved at them. Jinyao Qingsang, you're here. He saw the bird cage covered with a cloth in Su Qingsang's hand at a glance. What is this? Grandpa. Su Qingsang was still holding the bird cage. Looking at old Master Hua, even if she felt that it was inappropriate, she had to give it to him. Grandpa. I saw this parrot when I passed by the flower and bird market today. As Su Qingsang spoke, she took off the cloth on the bird cage. There was a red-beaked, green-feathered parrot inside, which looked very small and beautiful. Can talk a lot. I think it's quite interesting, so I bought it. It's a gift for you. You can play with it if you're free. After Su Qingsang finished speaking, she found that old Master Hua was looking at her with a strange expression. She was nervous again. She couldn't help but look at Huijinyao. Huijinyao's lips were pressed into a straight line. It was obvious that he was trying not to laugh. Su Qingsang glared at him and turned to look at old Master Hua. Grandpa, this bird can really talk a lot. And it's all auspicious words. She picked up the bird food that the shop owner gave her and put some in the cage. Say something. The parrot was completely different from before in the shop. It turned its head and ignored Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang was depressed. She knocked on the bird cage. Hello. Say something. The bird didn't even turn its head and didn't look at Su Qingsang at all. After she finished speaking, she remembered that the parrot had a name. But what was the bird's name again? Jade. Say something. Right. The bird's name was Jade. Su Qingsang thought for a while before she remembered. Jade, hello. Say something. However, no matter how she teased it, the parrot still didn't speak. Huijinyao and old Master Hua just watched Su Qingsang tease the parrot. Both grandfather and grandson had restrained smiles on their faces. It was really hard for them. Can really talk. Su Qingsang turned to look at Huijinyao. The expression on her face was half embarrassed and half embarrassed. Huijinyao couldn't bear to see her like that. He put his hand on Su Qingsang's shoulder and said, "All right, Qingsang. If it can't talk then it can't. It doesn't matter." How could it not matter? Su Qingsang was anxious. Can really talk. Okay. It can talk. Hua Jinyao didn't argue with Su Qingsang. He had a feeling that Su Qingsang had been tricked by the boss. Su Qingsang originally wanted to give Old Master Hua a surprise. She didn't expect that the surprise would be gone and it would become a joke. "Qingsang, sit down." Old Master Hua also held back his laughter, not wanting to embarrass Su Qingsang too much. If it can't talk then it can't. Let Uncle Qing take it down. Hang it on the eaves of the back garden. Su Qingsang looked at the arrogant parrot. She really didn't expect a bird to not give her face. Uncle Qing came in and saw the bird cage. For a moment he didn't understand why there was a bird cage. "Uncle Qing, take this parrot to the back garden and find a place to hang it. Remember to feed it." Su Qingsang thought about the precautions that the boss said. Hua Jinyao saw that Su Qingsang was so careful and was a little jealous. "No need to feed it. It won't talk anyway. Such a stupid bird. Just starve it for a few days." How could it not starve for a few days to make his wife so embarrassed? Who knew that the parrot, which had been silent, finally spoke? "You're stupid. You're stupid." Hua Jinyao, Old Master Hua, and the others were all stunned by the sudden voice. Su Qingsang also didn't expect that the bird would speak like this. The parrot didn't seem to be convinced and kept shouting, "You're stupid. You're stupid." Su Qingsang didn't care that it was scolding her. She looked at Old Master Hua as if she was asking for credit. "Grandpa, look. It really can talk. Ha 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 ha." Old Master Hua finally couldn't help but laugh. This granddaughter-in-law was really too interesting. Not only him but Hua Jinyao also laughed. Su Qingsang blushed because of their laughter. She stood behind Hua Jinyao embarrassedly and didn't speak. "What are you talking about? Why is it so lively?" The sudden voice was a little familiar. Su Qingsang turned around and her eyes suddenly widened. Chapter 492. Old Master Hua was so happy about the gift that Su Qingsang had just given him. The smile on his face grew brighter when he saw who it was. "Yichen is here? Come here." "Uncle." Zhang Yichen walked up to Old Master Hua and said, "Uncle, long time no see. You're still so energetic." "I'm not as energetic as you." Old Master Hua looked Zhang Yichen up and down. He was in his 30s and had a steady aura about him. The muscles and tall figure that he had trained in the army were clearly different from ordinary people. "The last time your mother came you didn't come with her. They have their business to attend to. I won't join in the fun with them." As Zhang Yichen spoke, he saw the parrot and the person standing beside it. His expression froze for a moment, and his eyes swept over Su Qingsang's face. Hua Jinyao was standing next to Su Qingsang when she came in. He was taller than Su Qingsang, so he blocked most of her body. When he stood in front of Hua Jinyao he could see clearly. "Jinyao, this is..." He already had an answer in his heart, but he couldn't help but ask again. "Uncle, this is your niece's wife, Su Qingsang." "Qingsang, this is the uncle I told you about." He was Zhang Yichen, the youngest son of her great-aunt. Don't be fooled by his young age, he's already a senior colonel. "Hello, uncle." The smile on Su Qingsang's face was a little stiff. She had never thought that she would run into Zhang Yichen again at the Hua mansion, right after meeting him in the afternoon. What was even more unexpected was that he was Hua Jinyao's uncle. Thinking of what he had done to her in the afternoon, which had almost been flirting with her, Su Qingsang suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. "Hello." After the initial shock, Zhang Yichen quickly composed himself and reached out his hand to Su Qingsang, as if he were seeing her for the first time. "Hello." Both Old Master Hua and Hua Jinyao were there, so Su Qingsang had to shake his hand. His palms were larger than Hua Jinyao's and his palms seemed to be rough. Su Qingsang only held it for less than a second before quickly retracting her hand. Zhang Yichen glanced at her again because of her movement. "I didn't come to Jinyao's wedding. I came in a hurry today. He didn't prepare a greeting gift. My apologies. Uncle is too polite. We're all family so we don't mind these empty formalities." He was such a young man but he had to call him uncle. In terms of seniority he was superior to her. Su Qingsang felt a little uncomfortable thinking about what Hua Jinyao had done in the afternoon. But one thing was clear. The other party was a soldier, so he was probably on a mission in the afternoon that he couldn't let her know. Thinking of that, the unhappiness and fear in Su Qingsang's heart dissipated a lot. "Yes, I'll make up for it next time." Zhang Yichen looked at Su Qingsang's eyes. From this angle, he could only see her slightly puckered lips. Thinking about the two of them being so close to each other in the afternoon, he felt his throat tighten. He looked at the parrot and then at old Master Hua. "Uncle, you haven't told me what you were laughing about." "Here." Oh. Old Master Hua recalled the situation just now. A faint smile appeared on his wrinkled face. "Ching Sang is filial to me and bought a parrot to keep me company. We're trying to make it talk." The parrot didn't know what was going on. After Zhang Yichen came in, it stopped talking again. However, old Master Hua didn't have time to talk to the parrot. He asked Uncle Cheng to take the parrot away, then waved at Zhang Yichen, signaling him to sit down next to him. He liked this nephew very much. Although Zhang Yichen had been in the army most of the time, he would come to see him whenever he was in Rong City. "I heard from your mother that you've been promoted to senior colonel. I haven't congratulated you yet. There aren't many senior colonels as young as you." "There aren't many, but it's not like there aren't any. Besides, they have to respect my father, so it's not a big deal." "You don't need to be humble. No matter how much they respect your father, they still need you to make contributions. You can only be promoted if you make contributions." Zhang Yichen smiled and didn't refute. Su Qingsang looked at Zhang Yichen and thought of the 2 times he had acted bravely for a just cause. She also thought of the fact that he was a soldier, so the unhappiness in the afternoon was gone. At dinner, old Master Hua asked Zhang Yichen to sit next to him. Hua Jinyao sat down between Zhang Yichen and Su Qingsang. Hua Jinyao seemed to be close to Zhang Yichen. From time to time, Su Qingsang saw Hua Jinyao lean over to talk to Zhang Yichen. They talked about things that happened in the past. When Aunt Zhou brought the soup to the table, Hua Jinyao habitually filled a bowl and put it in front of Su Qingsang. "This soup is very nourishing. Aunt Zhou made it especially for you. You should drink more." Lu Tongjia and Hua Mingguang were already numb to the fact that the two of them would show off their affection whenever they were having dinner. Lu Tongjia's mouth twitched a little. Why was this soup specially made for Su Qingsang? Aunt Zhou had made it because she hadn't been in good spirits these days. Lu Tongjia moved her lips. She wanted to say something, but she chose to stay silent when she saw Zhang Yichen. Hua Mingguang didn't say anything either. After all, they were both tired of seeing this scene. Zhang Yichen was the only one who had never seen it before. He sat next to Hua Jinyao and watched him fill Su Qingsang's bowl with soup and put food in her bowl. This was the Hua Jinyao he had never seen before, and this was the Su Qingsang he had never seen before. He remembered the cunning look on Su Qingsang's face when she faced the blackmailer's family in the hospital. He remembered the mischievous tone she used to ask him if he was being blackmailed again when he sent the family to the hospital. And this afternoon she was clearly scared but tried to stay calm. She looked at him with a guarded expression. His heart beat faster uncontrollably. He lowered his head and focused on the food in front of him. He clearly knew that she was his niece-in-law, but in those few short meetings, he could not get her image out of his mind. "Yichen, how long can you stay in Rong City this time?" Old Master Hua's voice brought Zhang Yichen back to his senses. 3 days. Then stay at home. Old Master Hua had spoken. Zhang Yichen wanted to refuse, but he saw Su Qingsang put food in Hua Jinyao's bowl with her chopsticks. Surprisingly, he didn't object. Old Master Hua was very happy. He asked Uncle Cheng to clean up the room. Su Qingsang took a shower and found that Hua Jinyao hadn't returned to his room. She called Hua Jinyao and found that he didn't answer. She looked at the time, put on her coat and went downstairs. After asking Uncle Cheng, Su Qingsang finally found Hua Jinyao in the Hua family's gym. When Su Qingsang walked to the door, she heard sounds coming from inside. The Hua family's gym was very large. Half of it was filled with all kinds of fitness equipment. The other half was covered with thick mats. It looked like it was for yoga. Su Qingsang pushed the door open and saw Hua Jinyao and Zhang Yichen fighting in the open space that she thought was for yoga. It could be seen that the two of them were just exchanging pointers and not really fighting. Zhang Yichen was good at martial arts and so was Hua Jinyao. The two of them fought back and forth for quite a while. However, Zhang Yichen suddenly started to attack Hua Jinyao with his halberd. He changed his style and Hua Jinyao changed his style. Su Qingsang didn't know how to fight, but she could see that Zhang Yichen was better than Hua Jinyao. Hua Jinyao held on for a long time, but in the end he was knocked to the ground. When his body was pressed to the ground by Zhang Yichen, he gasped and said, "Are you serious? I'm not good at martial arts." Zhang Yichen stood up and reached out a hand to Hua Jinyao to help him up. "You haven't been training lately, have you?" "Yes." Hua Jinyao didn't deny it. "I have a lot of things to do in the company. I can't be like you training in the military camp every day. How can I be compared?" He stood up, panted, and punched Zhang Yichen's chest. Damn you. How could you hit me so hard? It hurts like hell. He felt that Zhang Yichen wasn't fighting with all his strength like before. He was about to ask why. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Su Qingsang coming. He immediately became alert. Wife. He quickly walked up to Su Qingsang, grabbed her hand and said, "You see, I've gone too far. It hurts like hell." Su Qingsang gave Zhang Yichen a discreet glance. Then she looked at Hu Jingyao with concern. "Where are you hurt?" "Here, here and here." Hu Jingyao didn't think it was embarrassing to act pitiful in front of his wife. He pointed at several places on his body. Su Qingsang was about to lift up Hu Jingyao's shirt to check, but she stopped when she saw Zhang Yichen walking over. "Go back to the room. I'll help you apply some ointment." "Okay." Hu Jingyao was satisfied to see Su Qingsang's concern. He didn't care that Zhang Yichen was still there. He leaned over and kissed Su Qingsang on the cheek. In the past, Hu Jingyao had shown affection in front of others, but Su Qingsang felt uncomfortable when Zhang Yichen saw it. "Let's go. You don't want to apply the ointment, do you?" "Yes, of course." Hu Jingyao turned around and waved at Zhang Yichen. "Uncle, let's fight again next time." Su Qingsang nodded at Zhang Yichen as a greeting, then left with Hu Jingyao. Zhang Yichen stood there motionlessly. A light fragrance floated in the air. It was Su Qingsang's scent. He saw that Su Qingsang had obviously just taken a shower. The ends of her hair were slightly wet, and there was a light fragrance of shower gel on her body. Even though she had left, the smell still lingered in the air. It gently surrounded him. Zhang Yichen stood there motionlessly. He had grown up in a military camp. Since he was a child, there were no other women around him except for his mother and sister. Those who went on missions with the army didn't count. Most of the women in the military camp were less feminine and more masculine. He didn't have much contact with women like Su Qingsang, but he didn't expect that they would become like this. Chapter 493. When Su Qingsang went upstairs, she found that Hu Jinyao's body was bruised. His abdominal muscles were very strong, but the skin under his clothes was extremely fair. Looking at it this way, the place where he was hit looked particularly frightening. Why is it so bruised? Looking at the more than one bruise, Su Qingsang looked distressed and dissatisfied. "Uncle, aren't you being too reckless? He's a soldier, so his stamina must be better. How could he be so cruel?" He knew that Hu Jingyao couldn't beat him, but he didn't go easy on him. It was too much. "Honey, I'm fine." Hu Jingyao liked to see Su Qingsang worried about him. "He didn't take much advantage of me. I'm telling you, he must be injured too. No matter how injured he is, he's not as bad as you." Su Qingsang looked at the two bruises on Hu Jingyao's stomach. She felt distressed. "Go take a shower. I'll get the medicine." "I'm fine." Hu Jingyao didn't care at all. "It's just a minor injury. It'll disappear tomorrow." "No." Su Qingsang felt the pain just by looking at it. "Go take a shower. I'll ask Uncle Cheng to get the medicine." Hu Jingyao couldn't argue with Su Qingsang, so he went to take a shower. When he came out, Su Qingsang was already waiting by the bed with the medicine. After the shower, she found that the bruise on his waist looked even darker. The pain in Su Qingsang's eyes became more obvious. "Why did you suddenly think of fighting with your uncle out of nowhere?" "I told you it's not a fight. It's a friendly match." Su Qingsang didn't want to argue with him. In her opinion, fighting and friendly matches were the same. The heater was on in the room. Hu Jingyao was bare-chested, letting Su Qingsang apply the medicine for him. Su Qingsang poured out the medicine. As soon as it touched Hu Jingyao, he cried out in pain. "Ouch, ouch. You deserve it." Su Qingsang glared at him, but her hands were much lighter. "I'll let you continue the friendly matches next time. You don't know. Yichen and I have always been like this." In front of old Master Hua and the elders, Hu Jingyao called Zhang Yichen uncle. They had a good relationship in private, so Hu Jingyao always called Zhang Yichen by his name. Hu Jingyao winked and asked Su Qingsang to apply the medicine. Su Qingsang rolled her eyes at him. "I'm serious." Hu Jingyao thought of the time when he joined the army. "Do you know? I had been in my great aunt's army with my uncle at the time. In terms of skill, I admit that I am inferior to him. For someone like Zhang Yichen who trained every day, to rise from a common soldier to a senior colonel in just over a decade, that wasn't something an ordinary person could do. If he performs another meritorious deed, he'll be promoted again. So, honey, it's not that I can't beat him. It's because he's too powerful." The fate between people was also strange. Old Master Hua was not the only one who liked Zhang Yichen. His relationship with Hui Yifan and Wei Sihai was even better than with Hui Yifan and Wei Sihai. Yes, yes, yes. Su Qingsang couldn't help but increase the strength of her hand when she saw that he was still joking when he was injured. Seeing Hu Jinyao's facial features scrunched together, she seemed to be satisfied. I know you can do it. You don't have to explain. It wasn't like she hadn't seen videos of soldiers training in the army. Hu Jinyao, who stayed in the office every day, couldn't compare with someone who came from that kind of place. Honey. Hu Jinyao was afraid that Su Qingsang wouldn't believe him. I'm serious. Zhang Yichen is so powerful because he comes from a different family. If I were in the army, I'd be better than him. I wouldn't be beaten by him. Do you believe me? Yes, yes, yes. I'll believe whatever you say. It was obvious that she didn't believe him. How could Hu Jinyao let his wife think of him like that? After he finished applying the ointment, he put the ointment on her hand aside. He turned over and pressed Su Qingsang on the bed. You don't believe that I'm better than him? Hu Jinyao narrowed his star-like eyes, full of danger. Stop it. I haven't washed my hands yet. He didn't mind the ointment on her hand. What are you washing? Just apply it on me later. Su Qingsang almost laughed at Hu Jinyao's words, but soon she couldn't laugh anymore. In the morning, Su Qingsang was a little listless. She wouldn't have gotten up if she hadn't had to work today. Hu Jinyao went to exercise early in the morning. Su Qingsang hurriedly put on her clothes and went downstairs. She was in a hurry if she didn't want to be late. When she walked to the corner of the stairs, Su Qingsang yawned. She didn't pay attention to her feet and accidentally stepped on something. She was startled. When she came back to her senses, she immediately tried to grab the handrail next to her. However, there was still some distance between her and the handrail. She was about to fall, but a pair of big hands caught her waist in time. They took her away from the edge of the stairs and put her in a bigger space around the corner. Su Qingsang steadied herself. She patted her chest with lingering fear. When she saw the muscular chest in front of her, she suddenly realized what was going on. Hu Jinyao was working out in the gym downstairs. Who was holding her now? Looking at Zhang Yichen's thick eyebrows and big eyes, she said uncomfortably, "Thank you. I'm standing." Zhang Yichen looked at Su Qingsang and slowly pulled his hand back. He was as tall as Hu Jinyao. Looking at Su Qingsang's pale face, he felt that he had pulled his hand back too quickly. Watch where you're going. Su Qingsang pressed her lips together. She was a little uncomfortable with Zhang Yichen's lecture. She had never made a mistake like this. What happened today was just an accident. She took a step back and wanted to continue walking downstairs. Zhang Yichen pulled her again. Be careful. The stairs were behind her. Did she want to fall again? Thank you. Su Qingsang lowered her head and thanked him. She took a step to the side to make sure that she was safe and also to get rid of his hand. Zhang Yichen's hand was still on her waist. Now he let go of it. He subconsciously tightened his grip. His eyes never left Su Qingsang's face. Be careful. I know. Thank you. Su Qingsang didn't say anything to him. She turned around and went downstairs. This time she lowered her head and stared at the stairs. Zhang Yichen also wanted to go downstairs, so he followed Su Qingsang. Su Qingsang wanted to walk faster, but she felt that it would be too deliberate. She might as well walk like this. She was so focused on the stairs that she didn't notice that Zhang Yichen was very tall and that he was walking behind her. Because of this, he could easily see the marks on her neck from his angle. Even though he wasn't experienced, he could tell that it was a hickey. The marks on the back of her neck could only have been left by Hu Jinyao. Zhang Yichen's eyes darkened again because of this annoying thing. At the end of the stairs on the second floor, Lu Tongjia watched the scene. She clenched her fists so hard that they turned white. Zhang Yichen would stay in Rong City for 3 days. Therefore he would stay at the Hu Mansion for those 3 days. Because of this, Hu Jinyao drove to pick Su Qingsang up every day and drove her for more than an hour back to the Hu Mansion. The third day happened to be a Saturday. Su Qingsang didn't have to go to work. She woke up early in the morning and practiced Tai Chi with Old Master Hua. After practicing for a while, she had become good at it. However, she didn't use much strength. Old Master Hua kept saying that she ate too little. She needed to eat more. Grandpa, I'm a girl. Please don't say that I don't eat enough. Compared to other people, I eat a lot. You're still too thin. You need to be fatter. Old Master Hua was a little unhappy before, but after hearing his grandson's explanation, he didn't care about his anger anymore. He knew that Hu Jinyao didn't get along with his mother. Hu Jinyao didn't want to have children. However, Lu Tongjia blamed Su Qingsang for it. Old Master Hua was old. All he wanted was to keep the family together. He didn't want to worry about these small things anymore. Before Su Qingsang could say anything, she heard, "Grandpa, Grandpa" from the eaves in the distance. It was the parrot from before. It didn't want to talk when it first arrived. In the past 2 days no one had talked to it, so it kept talking. Old Master Hua laughed again. What a noisy bird. He didn't expect Su Qingsang to give him a parrot. That was really a little noisy. Su Qingsang was worried that she had been fooled and that the bird didn't know how to talk. It seemed that she had been thinking too much. "Uncle." The sudden voice made the smile on Su Qingsang's face fade a little. She turned around, saw Zhang Yichen and nodded slightly. "Uncle." When she saw Hu Jinyao, she immediately smiled again. She took a step forward and hooked her arm around his. "Finished working out?" "Yes." Hu Jinyao nodded. He looked at Su Qingsang with love in his eyes. Zhang Yichen stood next to them, watching them love each other. The way Hu Jinyao called Hu Jinyao "uncle" clearly separated them into 2 different generations. "Yes." Zhang Yichen glanced at Su Qingsang, then turned to Old Master Hua. "Uncle, what were you talking about? Why did you sound so happy?" "I was talking about this bird. It's noisy." Old Master Hua thought the parrot was quite funny. You're noisy. You're noisy." The bird usually stayed in the flower and bird shop. It had been trained by the owner to be very smart. Now it was quarreling with people. Su Qingsang couldn't help but want to laugh. However, because Zhang Yichen was standing next to her, she stopped laughing. Hu Jinyao couldn't help but raise his hand to rub the top of her head. It knows how to quarrel with people. "I don't know." Su Qingsang looked at the bird hanging under the eaves and thought it was quite funny. "Anyway, when I tease it, it doesn't talk. But when someone scolds it, it gets excited. Seems like it's a stupid bird." Hu Jinyao gave the bird a stare as he spoke. "Stupid bird." As expected, the parrot suddenly became angry. It fluttered in the cage and said, "You're stupid. You're stupid." Ah. This time both Old Master Hua and Hu Jinyao laughed. The corners of Zhang Yichen's mouth turned up a little. He turned to look at Su Qingsang. "With this uncle you won't be lonely anymore. Nice gift, niece-in-law." Chapter 494. Ignoring Zhang Yichen, Su Qingsang only had eyes for Hu Jinyao. "Jinyao, let's go eat. I'm hungry." "Okay." Hu Jinyao greeted Old Master Hua and Zhang Yichen, then put his arm around Su Qingsang's waist and walked to the dining room. Zhang Yichen turned around to help Old Master Hua. "Uncle, let's go eat too." "Okay." Old Master Hua didn't think too much. The 2 of them followed Su Qingsang and Hu Jinyao. Su Qingsang was talking to Hu Jinyao in a low voice. The parrot had made a lot of jokes in the past few days. She had wanted to buy it to say something auspicious. However, it refused to say anything auspicious and was very good at quarreling. She didn't expect it to do that. She even felt embarrassed. Hu Jinyao thought it was funny. It was fun to have a bird like that. Zhang Yichen helped Old Master Hua up and talked to him, but his eyes were fixed on Su Qingsang. He also saw the faint smile on her face when she talked to Hu Jinyao. She wasn't stunning, but her eyes were full of flirtatious charm. Zhang Yichen saw the flirtatious charm unintentionally. There was a faint flame dancing in his eyes. However, that ball of flame was quickly suppressed by him. Zhang Yichen only stayed at the Hua mansion for 3 days, then went back to the army. After Su Qingsang found out who he was, she turned the matter over. She would just treat the previous small conflict as an unintentional act by the other party. She didn't take it seriously. So, when she got off work, she was surprised to see Zhang Yichen suddenly appear in front of her office. It was already time to get off work and the other doctors had left. There were still 2 doctors on duty in the office. When Su Qingsang saw him, she called him uncle. The other 2 doctors didn't pay attention to her. "What's up, uncle?" Su Qingsang looked at Zhang Yichen and knew that he had something to say. She picked up her bag and stood outside the office. "You're off work?" "Yes." "That's good. Come with me." Zhang Yichen was about to take Su Qingsang's hand when he spoke. She quickly stepped back and looked at Zhang Yichen, her eyes full of disapproval. "Uncle, what's the matter?" Zhang Yichen looked around, thought for a moment, then added, "Can you come with me now? Can I ask for your help?" "Tell me what's the matter first." Zhang Yichen's voice was soft, but he sounded anxious. "It's urgent. I need a doctor. Now, right now." Su Qingsang looked at him from head to toe. Only then did she notice that there seemed to be some inconspicuous bloodstains on his black coat. Those bloodstains were very familiar to her. Her expression suddenly became serious. "Do you need tools?" "Yes." Zhang Yichen nodded. "Can you hurry up?" "Wait for me." She went to the pharmacy, bought some medicine and bandages, and returned to her office to get a full set of scalpels. She moved quickly, spending less than 10 minutes. She followed Zhang Yichen out of the hospital and got into Zhang Yichen's car. After she got in the car, he quickly stepped on the accelerator and sped away. Su Qingsang wasn't used to the speed, but she didn't say anything. She just looked at the scenery outside. In less than 5 minutes, Zhang Yichen and Su Qingsang arrived at an inconspicuous apartment. The apartment was old and the walls on both sides were mottled. Su Qingsang hesitated at the scene. Looking at Zhang Yichen's serious face, she followed him upstairs and entered the door. Almost as soon as she entered the door, she smelled blood. "Save him, hurry up." A man was lying on the bed in the room. Su Qingsang recognized him immediately. He was the man with the crew cut whom she met in the alley last time. He was shot 3 times. 1 in the arm, 1 in the abdomen and 1 in the leg. "Why didn't you send him to the hospital?" Su Qingsang asked. She walked up to the man and started to check his wounds. "We can't send him to the hospital." Zhang Yichen didn't explain further. Su Qingsang glanced at him but didn't say anything. She focused on the man in front of her, who was covered in blood. The wounds on the arm and leg didn't look serious, but the one in the abdomen looked the most serious. The man was lucky. He had lost so much blood and been shot 3 times, but he was still alive. I wanted to take the bullet out for him, but the bullet went in too deep. I was afraid that I might lose control. The wound was in the abdomen and it was all internal organs. Zhang Yichen was afraid that he might accidentally cause a second injury, so he asked Su Qingsang for help. "I've already helped him deal with it first. I just bandaged the wound a little. But I need you to take the bullet out." "Got it?" Su Qingsang didn't waste any more time. Although she was an obstetrician, she was familiar with stitching wounds. She took off her coat and put it outside, then put all the tools she brought with her on the side of the bed. She bent down, cut open the man's clothes and started to treat his wound. When she was treating him, she realized that the anesthesia she brought with her was useless. The man had already fainted because of the excessive blood loss. It was fine without anesthesia. He was shot in the abdomen. Fortunately, his internal organs weren't injured. Otherwise, Su Qingsang wouldn't have dared to treat him like this. The bullet barely grazed the man's stomach, almost causing it to perforate. Su Qingsang couldn't help but feel that the man was lucky. She had no time to care about anything else. She quickly took the bullet out of the man's leg, then the bullet in his arm. She took one and stitched the other. She didn't dare to delay. She was afraid that the man would die of blood loss because of her hesitation. Su Qingsang had been a doctor for so many years, and she had stitched the stomach of pregnant women the most. It was her first time stitching a man's stomach. Although it was fresh, she didn't dare to relax at all. Nearly 2 hours later, Su Qingsang finally finished treating all the wounds on the man's arm. After tying the bandage on the man's arm, Su Qingsang felt that her leg was a little numb when she stood up. It was such a cold day and there was no heater in the room. Her back was covered with a thin layer of sweat. When she stood up, she saw Zhang Yichen, who had been waiting at the door. Su Qingsang's voice was very soft. "It's done for now." "For now?" Zhang Yichen glanced at his comrade on the bed, whose face was still pale. "What do you mean?" "He lost so much blood. Normally he needs a blood transfusion. But you refused to send him to the hospital. Although I treated him in time, it was still very dangerous tonight. We need to watch him and make sure that he will wake up tomorrow morning. Then he will be fine." To be honest, the man had been shot 3 times and lost so much blood, but he was still alive. His vitality was quite strong. "Thank you." Zhang Yichen understood. What happened next had nothing to do with Su Qingsang. He looked at the man and said, "I will take care of him." Su Qingsang nodded. She moved her limbs, and when she met Zhang Yichen's eyes, she put her hands down uncomfortably. "Then, if there's nothing else, I'll leave now. I'll drive you." "No need." Su Qingsang glanced at the man on the bed. "You should take care of him. I'll just take a taxi back myself." After all, the man was seriously injured and there was no blood transfusion. Su Qingsang wasn't 100% sure that he would be fine. "Oh, he lost too much blood. He might have a fever in the middle of the night. Remember, don't let him have a fever. If you really can't control it, wipe his body with alcohol." She had brought alcohol with her to disinfect the wound, so there was still a lot left. She could give it to Zhang Yichen. "Okay, I got it. Thank you." Zhang Yichen thanked her with sincerity. He looked completely different from when he teased her in the alley. Su Qingsang felt a little uncomfortable. She walked out of the room, picked up her bag and left. "If there's nothing else, I'm leaving." Don't you need to deal with it? Zhang Yichen glanced at her. She had been treating the man's wound, so her clothes were stained with blood. It wasn't a good idea to run out like this. It's okay. I have a coat. Su Qingsang put on her coat as she spoke. In this way he really couldn't tell. Zhang Yichen didn't say anything. When Su Qingsang's hand touched the doorknob, he called her back again. Su Qingsang. Yes. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. Don't worry. I'm not that talkative. No, I'm also talking about Jinyao. Don't tell him. Su Qingsang turned to look at Zhang Yichen. When she saw the seriousness in his eyes, she nodded. And thank you. You're welcome. Although Su Qingsang didn't know what they were doing, she could guess a little. Since they wanted to keep it a secret, she wouldn't tell anyone. After leaving the apartment, Su Qingsang stood at the door and looked around. She took a turn and then left the alley. When Su Qingsang got home, Hu Jinyao was already there. He had obviously just taken a shower, and the ends of his hair were still wet. He was sitting on the bed reading a book. When he saw Su Qingsang come in, he put the book aside. His eyes fell on the bags in Su Qingsang's hands. You went shopping? Yes. Su Qingsang nodded and put down the bags. Did you call me? I was shopping and didn't hear you. I just saw you in the elevator. Have you eaten? Hu Jinyao got off the bed and walked to Su Qingsang. He noticed that she had changed her clothes. She wasn't wearing the clothes she had worn this morning. I've eaten. As Su Qingsang spoke, she picked up the bag by her feet and took out a Versace casual suit. It was dark striped and made of sapphire blue material. She compared it to Hu Jinyao and said, "Try it on." Chapter 495. He looked at her inquisitively, but Su Qingsang didn't seem to notice it. She said calmly, "I saw this suit on you when I was shopping, so I bought it." Su Qingsang wanted to go home after coming out of Zhang Yichen's apartment, but she thought of the blood stains on her clothes, so she decided to buy a new set of clothes. After buying the suit for herself, Su Qingsang passed by Versace and happened to see the casual suit in the display window. The style, the design, and the color made Su Qingsang think it looked good. She didn't know much about brands, but she knew that almost all of Hu Jinyao's clothes were high-end. But that didn't stop her from buying the suit for Hu Jinyao. Hu Jinyao looked at the eagerness in her eyes, put on the suit, and joked with Su Qingsang. "You're unaccountably solicitous. Honey, did you do something wrong to me?" Su Qingsang reached out and grabbed the front of Hu Jinyao's shirt. "Yeah, I did something wrong to you. I went on a date with a man just now. I was afraid that you would find out, so I bought the suit to please you." Was he the only one who could talk nonsense? So could she. Hu Jinyao stopped putting on the suit, leaned over, and stared at Su Qingsang's face. "Are you angry?" "I was joking. I'm serious." Su Qingsang blinked and looked at him, looking very serious. "I really went out with a man and stayed in the same room for more than 2 hours. Honey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have doubted you." Hu Jinyao looked at her, leaned over, and kissed her on the cheek, then quickly put on the suit. He was 188 meters tall, and his inverted triangular figure was a standard clothes rack. The royal blue suit made him look especially energetic. Su Qingsang took a step back and looked at Hu Jinyao. "I have good taste, right?" "Of course." Hu Jinyao didn't care how the suit felt on him. He cared about Su Qingsang's feelings. "Thank you, honey." "You're welcome." Su Qingsang smiled and said, "I did something wrong to you. Of course I have to treat you better." "Honey." Hu Jinyao held her waist and lifted her up easily. "I told you I was joking." "I'm just kidding." Su Qingsang wanted to tell Hu Jinyao about what happened today. However, since Zhang Yichen said that she couldn't tell him, she wouldn't. She didn't know much about the army, but she understood that they had their own discipline. She thought for a long time, but in the end she didn't tell Hu Jinyao what happened today. Su Qingsang didn't expect to see Zhang Yichen again at the Hu mansion that weekend. It was February in Rong City, and the weather was getting warmer. It had been almost a week since she had helped his friend with his work. Today Zhang Yichen was wearing a military uniform, which made him look very different. Su Qingsang couldn't help but take a few more glances at him because of his military uniform. Zhang Yichen was handsome as well, but not in the same way as Hu Jinyao. His facial features were more defined and he had thick eyebrows and big eyes. His tall and strong body made him look energetic. Wearing such a military uniform, he looked like a tall and straight pine tree. Su Qingsang suddenly thought of the news on the internet. Indeed, all the handsome men were handed over to the government. A soldier like that was indeed very handsome. However, as soon as she looked at him, she met Zhang Yichen's eyes. He nodded at her almost imperceptibly as a sign of acknowledgement. Su Qingsang remembered that she had helped him with the wound of the crew cut, and she took it as a gesture of goodwill. She quickly withdrew her gaze and sat across from old Master Hua with Hua Jinyao. As soon as they sat down, Lu Tongjia and Hua Mingguang came downstairs. They didn't get along well with Lu Tongjia, so Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao stood up to greet the two elders. Speaking of which, Su Qingsang's way of addressing Lu Tongjia was really awkward. She should have called her mother like Hua Jinyao. However, Lu Tongjia obviously didn't like it. Su Qingsang had been in Rong City for so long, but she had never called Lu Tongjia mother. Zhang Yichen couldn't help but look at Su Qingsang's face for a while when she heard Lu Tongjia call her aunt. Su Qingsang and Hua Jinyao didn't notice it. Only Lu Tongjia saw Zhang Yichen's eyes, and her face darkened. During dinner, Su Qingsang found that Lu Tongjia's face was very gloomy. It was as if someone had offended her. Especially when she looked at Su Qingsang, her eyes were as sharp as knives. She didn't try to hide the dissatisfaction in her eyes. Other than dissatisfaction, there were some other emotions. Not only Su Qingsang but even old Master Hua and Zhang Yichen noticed that. "I'm full." Lu Tongjia didn't eat much, but she put down her chopsticks and left early. For some reason, Su Qingsang felt a little nervous. She couldn't help but look at Hua Jinyao, asking him what was going on with her eyes. Hua Jinyao gave her a look to tell her that it was okay. It wasn't the first time that Lu Tongjia had disliked them. Su Qingsang couldn't stop worrying, but it wasn't the time to ask Hua Jinyao. The atmosphere during dinner was very strange. After dinner, old Master Hua asked Hua Jinyao to play chess with him. Zhang Yichen sat on the side and watched. Su Qingsang found it boring, so she told Hua Jinyao and went upstairs. Just like before, Su Qingsang took a shower and read for a while. She found that Hua Jinyao hadn't come upstairs yet. She thought about it and went straight to the gym. To her surprise, Hua Jinyao wasn't there. Zhang Yichen was alone in the gym. He was sitting on the machine and lifting dumbbells. His military uniform had been taken off, and he was only wearing a vest. Su Qingsang could see his overly strong muscles and wheat-colored skin at first glance. It was indecent. Su Qingsang was about to leave, but Zhang Yichen had already seen her. "Are you looking for Jinyao? He went to the study with my uncle." Su Qingsang nodded and was about to leave. She thought of something and stopped. She turned around and looked at Zhang Yichen. "Is that guy okay?" Zhang Yichen had already put down the dumbbells. He stood up and walked towards Su Qingsang. "He's fine." Zhang Yichen walked up to Su Qingsang. She didn't know how long he had been exercising. His face was a little red, but he wasn't sweating. "He did have a fever in the middle of the night. I did what you told me to do to lower his body temperature. The fever went down and he woke up the next day." "That's good." Su Qingsang was just asking casually. She was relieved to know that he was fine. After all, he was the first non-female patient she had ever treated. She turned around to leave, but Zhang Yichen reached out his hand to hold her hand. Su Qingsang looked at his hand and instinctively stepped back. She stepped back too quickly and tripped over her right foot. Not only did she fail to dodge, but she also fell backwards. The moment she lost her balance, Zhang Yichen quickly caught her. Su Qingsang's body leaned against Zhang Yichen's chest. Su Qingsang quickly stood up with her hands on his chest. Her hands touched his firm chest, and Zhang Yichen's hands were on her waist. Su Qingsang felt uncomfortable being so close to him. She took a big step back after she steadied herself. She looked at Zhang Yichen with an unfriendly gaze. Zhang Yichen seemed to know what she was upset about, but his expression didn't change. "I'm sorry. I just wanted to thank you." "No need." Su Qingsang's voice was cold. "You already said that last time." "Yes. He already said that last time." This time he just wanted to find an excuse to talk to her again. She was very close to him. The familiar aroma from last time rushed into his nose again. It was her aroma. He moved his toes slightly. He almost wanted to step forward and hold her like he did just now. However, Su Qingsang obviously didn't like him. She didn't even say a word to him. She turned around and left. Her footsteps were a little hurried and she walked a little fast. Zhang Yichen's eyes followed her back until she disappeared around the corner. He couldn't see her anymore. He stood there and took a deep breath. He felt that the aroma didn't go away. Instead, it made him feel more and more distinct. Su Qingsang, he repeated the name in his heart. He was so focused that he didn't notice that Lu Tongjia was standing in the shadows at the other end of the corridor. Seeing the two of them hugging each other, even though she couldn't hear what they were talking about, it was enough for Lu Tongjia to imagine a lot of things. Her face was dark and cold, and she went up the other end of the passage through the kitchen to her room. Lu Tongjia asked Mrs. Su to go to the spa in the afternoon. Mrs. Su was Su Ruoli's mother. Because the two families had almost become in-laws, they had been in contact a lot. She often saw Mrs. Su. If it weren't for Hua Jinyao's refusal to marry Su Ruoli, their children would have been grown up. This time it was even worse. She didn't know what Hua Jinyao said to Su Ruoli, but Su Ruoli said she was going abroad to study at the end of last year. She hadn't been home for several months. Mrs. Su didn't like Su Ruoli's behavior, but she knew that it was all Hua Jinyao's fault. However, she didn't even dare to blame Su Ruoli. Who could she blame for her daughter's stubbornness? Now that she had met Lu Tongjia, she had to be polite and polite. They went to the club and accidentally ran into Li Xiangyuan, who was with He Xianyao. The mother and daughter seemed to be there for the spa as well. Tongjia. Li Xiangyuan's eyes were full of surprise when she saw Lu Tongjia. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you here. Li Xiangyuan was Li Juanxing's aunt. Li Xiangyuan was born in the Li family and married into the He family. She was also He Xiankai and He Xuanyao's mother. The He family was not as powerful as the Hua family, let alone the Li family. However, the Li family had a lot of resources. When Li Xiangyuan married into the He family, it was considered a low marriage. She and Lu Tongjia had known each other since they were young and had a good relationship. It is quite a coincidence. Lu Tongjia greeted her and immediately saw He Xianyao, who was next to her. If she remembered correctly, He Xianyao had taken all kinds of opportunities to come to her house. She also knew that He Xianyao liked Hua Jinyao. Auntie Hua. He Xianyao had always been good in front of Lu Tongjia, and it was the same now. Chapter 496. Didn't He Xianyao visit the Hua family so often because she liked Hua Jinyao? If Hua Jinyao had married He Xianyao at that time, their children would have grown up by now. He Xianyao cared about Hua Jinyao so much that she wouldn't want to have children. Not to mention that Hua Jinyao would coax and flatter her every day. Thinking of this, Lu Tongjia looked at He Xianyao in a different way. He Xianyao felt a little uncomfortable under Lu Tongjia's gaze. The smile on her face froze. Lu Tongjia looked away and said calmly, "Since we met, let's go together. Just put it on my card for today." After the spa, Lu Tongjia suggested that they go for afternoon tea together. It was rare for her to be so interested in the spa. She was more enthusiastic than usual. The other three felt it, but they didn't know what Lu Tongjia wanted to do. After they went to a restaurant in a nearby 5-star hotel, Lu Tongjia pulled He Xianyao over and asked her to sit next to her. "Xianyao used to visit me often, but she hasn't been coming lately." "What? You don't like me anymore?" "Why would I?" He Xianyao had been humiliated by Hua Jinyao. How could she go back to the Hua family? Although she didn't want to, the He family's business in Lin City had been taken away. She was really afraid of Hua Jinyao. "If you don't, you can come again next time. I'm old now and I like to spend time with you young people." "Auntie, you must be joking. You're not old. If I hang out with you now, people will think that you're my sister. You're such a sweet talker." Lu Tongjia's smile became brighter. "I took it seriously. Next time you have to come to see me more often." He Xianyao didn't understand what Lu Tongjia meant. Li Xiangyuan looked at Lu Tongjia's face and changed the topic. "I heard that your son got married. Jinyao has high standards. You might as well ask your daughter-in-law to accompany you instead of Xianyao." Lu Tongjia's face darkened when Li Xiangyuan mentioned Su Qingsang. She didn't hide her attitude at all. Mrs. Su and Li Xiangyuan looked at each other. Mrs. Su couldn't hide her curiosity and asked curiously, "What's wrong? You're married and you're not happy?" "Happy? What was there to be happy about? Marrying a woman like that, he had no family background, no filial piety, and most importantly, his character was questionable." Every time she thought of what Su Qingsang had done with Zhang Yichen, she wanted to tell Hua Jinyao everything. However, she also knew that she didn't have any substantial evidence. Hua Jinyao was so obsessed with Su Qingsang that he wouldn't believe anything she said. She didn't speak, so the other two didn't know where to start. Lu Tongjia didn't want to talk about Su Qingsang. She felt disgusted. When they parted, she held He Xuanyao's hand and kept asking her to play. He didn't forget to say some specious words. She had always wanted a daughter-in-law like He Xianyao who had a good family background and a good family background. She wouldn't be an illegitimate daughter like Su Qingsang who recognized her halfway. An illegitimate daughter was an illegitimate daughter, she couldn't be brought to the table. Hua Jinyao was obsessed and treated a blade of grass like a treasure. Lu Tongjia talked for a long time. Seeing that He Xianyao understood what she meant, she left. As soon as she left, Mrs. Su also left. He Xianyao sat in her seat and looked at Li Xiangshuan. She was confused. Mom, what do you think Auntie Hua meant? I think she's dissatisfied with her daughter-in-law and wants Hua Jinyao to find another one. That's impossible. She had heard a lot about the relationship between Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang in Lin City, even though she didn't see them every day. How could Lu Tongjia have such a thought? Didn't you hear her? She said that some women are so greedy these days. They don't want to have children and they don't want to be filial to their elders. Li Xiangshuan was a smart woman. Hearing this, she understood everything. Even if Lu Tongjia didn't say it out loud, how could he not understand her insinuations? He Xuanyao's eyes lit up because of Li Xiangshuan's words, but only for a second. She thought of the humiliation she had suffered at the hands of Hua Jinyao and Su Qingsang. She was a little scared. Mom, then tell me, are you stupid? You'd better not get involved in this kind of thing. After all, they are mother and son. She's just dissatisfied now. When she gets over it, they'll be fine, but you'll be in trouble. After all, Li Xiangshuan had lived for a few years. She had seen this kind of thing many times. He Xianyao stopped talking, but she couldn't suppress the thought in her heart. She hadn't fought back against Su Qingsang when she humiliated her last time. But she couldn't say that to others. If she could get Lu Tongjia's support and push Su Qingsang down from the position of the young madam of the Hua family, Li Xiangshuan was still explaining the situation, clearly telling her not to get involved with the Hua family. However, He Xianyao already had an idea, so she didn't listen to a word. Seeing that her daughter didn't object, Li Xiangshuan left with her. After these people left, the place became quiet. But no one noticed that behind them, there was a spot that was blocked by a potted plant. Su Peijian sat there, and the smile on her face looked very strange. Su Qingsang had slowly adapted to life in Rong City. Other than when she was on duty, she would go back to the Hua family with Hua Jinyao on weekends to spend time with old Master Hua. Although Lu Tongjia still didn't like her, she was mentally strong and didn't take Lu Tongjia's dislike to heart. As Hua Jinyao said, as long as old Master Hua was on their side, it didn't matter how much Lu Tongjia didn't like her. As for Zhang Yichen, he disappeared again after that day. Hua Jinyao mentioned that he went back to the army. Hua Jinyao seemed to be really close to this uncle of his. She could hear the closeness in Hua Jinyao's words. In fact, not only Hua Jinyao but old Master Hua also liked this nephew very much. Every time Zhang Yichen was mentioned, he was full of praise. Su Qingsang didn't know if it was an illusion, but every time old Master Hua and Hua Jinyao talked about Zhang Yichen, she always saw Lu Tongjia's face darken. Gradually, Su Qingsang figured out that Lu Tongjia didn't like Zhang Yichen, her cousin. However, what was the reason for this? At night, when they were sleeping, Su Qingsang rubbed her face against Hua Jinyao's chest and looked up at him. She wanted to say something but didn't. She mentioned her doubts to Hua Jinyao. Hua Jinyao looked at her with a smile on his face. Do you care about my mother or my uncle? Do you care about my uncle? I don't care about either. Lu Tongjia didn't like Su Qingsang. She always talked to her like that. As for Zhang Yichen, there was a misunderstanding between them. Su Qingsang later found out that he was just trying to scare her, but she still felt uncomfortable. She wanted to stay far away from him. She only asked out of curiosity. I'm just curious. Hua Jinyao didn't care about her curiosity. He put his arms around her and rested his chin on Su Qingsang's head. My mother doesn't even like her own son. How could she like my uncle? He said in a low voice. Su Qingsang said almost without thinking, then why does your mother dislike you? It was so strange. She knew it since she came to Rong City. Lu Tongjia didn't like Hua Jinyao at all, and it was unreasonable. Hua Jinyao was Lu Tongjia's only son. He was also the eldest son of the Hua family. Why didn't Lu Tongjia like him? Even though Su Qinghui loved Su Peijian, he didn't dislike Su Yusen. Even though she was an illegitimate daughter at that time, Su Qinghui just ignored her. He wouldn't treat her the way Lu Tongjia did. Su Qingsang didn't hear a reply. She instinctively wanted to look up, but Hua Jinyao pressed the back of her head tightly, not letting her look at him. Hua Jinyao. She wanted to see him clearly, but Hua Jinyao was very strong. He pressed her with one hand and turned off the light with the other. Go to sleep. Su Qingsang didn't move. She could hear that Hua Jinyao's voice was much softer than before, but she didn't understand why. Jinyao? Go to sleep. Hua Jinyao put his arms around her and lay down. He put his arms around her waist. The light in the room had been turned off. She couldn't see his expression, and she had no way of knowing what he was feeling. Since he didn't want to answer that question, Su Qingsang didn't ask. She put her arms around his waist and rubbed her face against his chest. She didn't ask again. Huo Jinyao didn't say anything. He felt the soft body of the person in his arms pressed tightly against him. She still had shower gel on her body, and there was a faint fragrance mixed with her own. He took a deep breath. He felt that his heartbeat, which had been disordered because of Su Qingsang's question, slowly returned to normal. Su Qingsang had been busy the whole day, so she was sleepy. She closed her eyes and fell asleep not long after. Huo Jinyao couldn't fall asleep. Listening to Su Qingsang's steady breathing in the dark, he slightly tightened his arms. After he fell asleep, he didn't hold her so tightly anymore. That night, the nightmare came again. The small dark room. It was a mess everywhere. He ran in a panic, and behind him the footsteps were getting closer and closer. Finally, an enlarged, extremely ferocious face came closer. The voice that came out of his mouth had troubled him for more than 20 years. Go to hell. Go to hell? The chaotic images that kept flashing through his mind, as well as the words, go to hell. It made Huo Jinyao fall into a nightmare. What was different from the past was that he didn't wake up this time. His body was stiff, and his hands unconsciously began to exert force. Su Qingsang was woken up by the heat. In such weather, she felt the hands around her waist getting tighter and tighter. Chapter 497. Before she was fully awake, Su Qingsang heard some heavy breathing in the room. She raised her head. She couldn't see Huo Jinyao's expression clearly in the dark, but she could feel that his breathing was heavy. Su Qingsang raised her hand to turn on the bedside lamp and found that Huo Jinyao was sweating. She had never seen Huo Jinyao like this. Jinyao? Huo Jinyao? There was no response. Huo Jinyao's brows were tightly knitted, and his face was abnormally red. More and more sweat appeared on his forehead. Su Qingsang could tell that Huo Jinyao was in a terrible nightmare at the moment. Su Qingsang reached out to pat his face. Huo Jinyao seemed to pause for a moment, but soon he frowned again. Huo Jinyao. Su Qingsang called again, but found that Huo Jinyao showed no signs of waking up. She leaned over, held his face with both hands and kissed his lips hard. At first, Huo Jinyao's body was very stiff, but slowly he relaxed. Later his forehead stopped sweating and then he woke up. When he opened his eyes and saw what Su Qingsang was doing to him, Huo Jinyao was stunned for a moment. You're awake. It was the first time Su Qingsang saw Huo Jinyao like this and she was really scared. Are you okay? Huo Jinyao blinked and thought of the nightmare. He reached out and held Su Qingsang in his arms. Did I scare you? No. Su Qingsang was worried about him. She propped herself up and looked at his face. His forehead was still sweating. She reached out and took a tissue from the bedside table to wipe his sweat. Huo Jinyao let her do whatever she wanted and looked at her beautiful face, which was right in front of him. He suddenly flipped over and pressed her under his body. He lowered his head and kissed her lips heavily. It was different from the gentleness she had when she kissed him just now. His kiss was fierce, domineering, and lingering. Ever since the two of them got together, Su Qingsang hadn't seen Huo Jinyao so fierce for a long time. She closed her eyes and let him do whatever he wanted. She felt that he was filling her and becoming one with her. He was crazier than ever before. She responded by wrapping her arms around his waist so that he could indulge more. When it was all over, both of them were sweating. However, Su Qingsang was not in a hurry to take a shower. He was still on top of her and her hand was still on his back. Are you all right? Su Qingsang sounded a little nervous. Huo Jinyao remained silent. He buried his face into Su Qingsang's neck. She felt his breath brushing against the skin of her neck. It was a little itchy and a little hot. He did not say anything and she did not rush him. Subconsciously, she gently stroked his sweaty back. Again and again she gently patted his back as if she was coaxing a child. Huo Jinyao closed his eyes and took a deep breath. I'm fine. What could have happened to him? It was all in the past. He was no longer that child. He had grown up. Su Qingsang's lips moved. She wanted to ask him what had happened. She wanted to ask him what he was dreaming about. But in the end she didn't ask anything. She gently patted his back until she was tired and fell into a deep sleep. Huo Jinyao propped himself up after she fell asleep and looked at her little face, which was flushed because of the entanglement just now. He lowered his head and gently kissed her on the forehead. He carefully turned over and held her in his arms. He found a relatively more comfortable position so that she could sleep better. He stopped thinking about the nightmare and the hideous face in the dream. Hua Jingyao did not have any more dreams. Su Qingsang observed him for a few more nights after that day, but she did not see Hua Jingyao have any more nightmares. Of course, it was also possible that he had a nightmare, but she did not notice it. After all, she slept very well most of the time. If she slept too deeply, even if he had a nightmare, she might not know. But after that day, Su Qingsang did not ask Hua Jingyao about the dream that night. After returning to the apartment in the city, Hua Jingyao became even busier. During this period of time, he had several times more social engagements than before. Sometimes he would ask her, but most of the time she did not like to go to social engagements. Hua Jingyao did not force her. If she did not want to go, he would ask Yang Wenchang. She was still curious about Hua Jingyao's nightmare. She had a feeling that Hua Jingyao's nightmare had something to do with Lu Tongjia. Why did Lu Tongjia not like Hua Jingyao? Why did Hua Jingyao have a nightmare? She believed that the two things were related. Hua Mingguang and Hua Jingyao must know, but they would not say it. Su Qingsang thought of one person, Old Master Hua. Maybe when she went to the Hua family on Friday, she could ask Old Master Hua in private. When Su Qingsang and Hua Jingyao entered the living room, they were stunned by the lively scene in front of them. In the living room, Old Master Hua was not there, nor was Hua Mingguang. Hua Mingmei and Hua Mingliang's families who usually came were not there. Other than Lu Tongjia, Li Wanyu and He Xianyao were sitting on the sofa. He Xianyao was very smart. She knew that Hua Jingyao did not like her, and she had been ignored by him several times. However, Lu Tongjia's words moved her, so she couldn't help but want to try. But she was afraid that she would be humiliated by Hua Jingyao like before. So she called Li Wanyu. Li Wanyu was Li Juanxing's younger sister and her cousin. They had a good relationship. Most importantly, Hua Jingyao was very close to Li Junxing. Hua Jingyao would not respect her, but he would respect Li Junxing. But that was only He Xuanyao's opinion. Hua Jingyao would respect Li Junxing, but only if Li Wanyu did not cause trouble. Brother Jingyao. Li Wanyu stood up when she saw Hua Jingyao. She had no other feelings for Hua Jingyao. She just saw him as a big brother. Knowing that he was married, but the person he married was neither Su Ruoli nor He Xianyao, made her feel a little uncomfortable. In her opinion, only the noble ladies in Rong City were worthy of Hua Jingyao. As for Su Qingsang, who appeared out of nowhere, who knew what kind of person she was? She had snatched Hua Jingyao away so easily. Especially He Xianyao, who had been visiting the Hua family so frequently. Everyone knew that Lu Tongjia liked her and wanted her to be her daughter-in-law. But now they were robbed by an outsider. She had become a joke in Rong City. So when she heard He Xianyao say that Lu Tongjia only wanted her to accompany Hua Jingyao, she came without thinking. Last time, Hua Jingyao embarrassed them in front of Su Qingsang. Now they had a chance to see Su Qingsang embarrass herself. They were all looking forward to it. Thinking of this, when Li Wanyu looked at Su Qingsang again, there was a faint emotion in her eyes. She probably didn't know that Lu Tongjia disliked her so much. Did she really think that she could be the young madam of the Hua family by marrying Hua Jingyao? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.